Today on Dr. Phil, the horrifying allegations.
This story made national headlines. A little boy starved and locked under the stairs.
The father and stepmother accused.
You know who your child was inside that house.
His face was black and purple.
The shocking details.
He weighed 29 pounds.
The doctors told me that he was days away from starving to death.
Never seen anything like it. Just horrific.
In a Dr. Phil exclusive.
I don't understand how they could have done that to my sweet baby.
The biological mom speaks out.
Those people are monsters.
And for the first time,
We're going inside this house where this little boy was allegedly held.
now, here's Dr. Phil.
Today, I'm in Spring, Texas, standing in front of this two-story house. From the outside, it looks like any other house on the street. But police claim that inside, it held a shocking secret. According to authorities, an innocent 5-year-old boy was being held prisoner in a tiny closet under the stairs, allegedly terrorized at the hands of his very own father and stepmother. Photos of this child look heartbreaking. He appears to be skin and bones, barely 29 pounds, wearing a diaper and covered in bruises. His dramatic story ripped through the headlines. Take a look.
A little boy starved and locked under the stairs.
Tonight, 5-year-old Jordan is at Children's Memorial recovering after police say he nearly died because he was being starved. Bradley and Tammy Blymeyer were arrested and Tammy bonded out of jail. They were charged after deputy constables realized Jordan had been locked in a small 4x4 room under the staircase.
The bruises and the cuts on this child's body, his bones are literally sticking out of his skin.
This is something out of a third world country.
He was wearing a soiled diaper when cops found him Friday at a motel. Cops found out about this horror because the boy's courageous 16-year-old stepbrother had enough and got into a fight with his stepfather over the alleged abuse of this little boy. With cops on the way, the stepmother took the boy and fled her home, allegedly to hide him from cops.
Investigators say Tammy has 6 other children, a 1-year-old who is now in foster care. Her 5, 7, 13, 14, and 16-year-olds are headed to a shelter. Tammy is pregnant with her 7th child. His biological mother, Wendy Hall, appeared before a judge. She's fighting for full custody of her only child.
He's been through a lot, and I want him to know that Mommy is never going to leave him again.
We spoke to Assistant Chief Mark Herman of the Harris County Constable's Office, Precinct 4. He says this case is the most horrific that he has seen in his 28 years in law enforcement. How did the police get involved in this episode? There was a call to the house?
Yes, and I'll tell you, Dr. Phil, we in law enforcement see a lot of bad stuff. And there's a few things that will stick with you through your career of law enforcement. This is one of them. We got a call of a 16-year-old and his stepdad fist fighting in the front yard. Deputies respond, we get out there and separate them. The 16-year-old starts saying, look, we're fighting because he came home and saw that I let my 5-year-old stepbrother out of the closet. He was hungry, he was crying, he's being abused. The deputies immediately go inside the house, start looking for the 5-year-old. A few minutes later, we're told by witnesses on the scene that the stepmother, moments before our deputies arrived, had fled the location with the child.
Why would she flee the scene?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, we did have dialogue with her that night. It took us 26 hours to actually recover this kid. We were told lie after lie after lie by both her and the husband.
What kind of lies were they telling for 26 hours?
One case, she said that the dad took the child to Alabama. She talked to one of the officers and told the officer that he had strep throat, she'd take him to a doctor in the Woodlands. We were on a wild goose chase, basically.
How did you ultimately recover the child?
We resorted to tracking their cell phones. We went parking lot to parking lot, motel room to motel room, and we found the vehicle at a motel. A few minutes later, we see the dad, Bradley, who knows we're looking for the child, come out of the hotel room.
So they know you've asked to see the child, but they're withholding the child. Was that a crime at that point?
At that point, we really wanted to check the welfare of the child. When we confronted the dad, he did let us in the room, and the minute the deputies saw the child, they saw bruises on his head, injuries to the front of the head, the back of the head, They immediately arrested the dad on the spot and the stepmother. They called an ambulance immediately for the 5-year-old.
Okay, so you go inside the home looking for the child and he's not there.
Yes. They were led to this closet area where the child had been kept. We had 2 independent witnesses at the scene that said the child had been in that closet. They had the door barricaded and they don't let him out. Minutes after the officers went back outside, they were told by the 16-year-old, hey, if you're looking for the child, he's gone. She left with him right before y'all got here. So we were told that by 2 separate witnesses.
Is that how you knew to look in the closet because of what the 16-year-old had said?
Yes, and another witness at the house. I think a 14-year-old girl.
Okay, and she said the same thing?
Yes. Their stories were consistent that the child was being kept in the closet. He is kept in the closet quite often. He is locked in there, deprived of food for long periods of time. Actually, the fight that had occurred that evening was a result of the 16-year-old coming home from work and hearing his 5-year-old stepbrother in the closet crying, saying he's hungry. And he opened the door and observed him in a diaper only with urine and feces all over him and just saying, please give me something to eat, I'm starving, I'm hungry. And then the dad comes home minutes later after he had let the kid out of the closet, and that's why the fight resulted between the 2.
Did they say why they had waited so long to say something?
Dr. Field, there has been a past history at that house. I mean, there have been various calls for service there. We had reports before about possible abuse and neglect. So we have done many, many welfare checks at the location, but every time we would go, they wouldn't answer the door. I mean, they would be evasive, they wouldn't let us in. CPS had active cases on the family. Back in January of this year, a babysitter reported to us that there was possible abuse of this child. And we immediately went to the location, tried to see the kid, they wouldn't let us. It took us 9 days to physically, we literally had to have a deputy sit outside that house for hours waiting for them to come home or make movement. January the 29th, the stepmother drives up in the driveway, the deputy approaches her, says, hey, we want to see the child in question. And the stepmother said, you're not coming in my house. And then at that point, the dad, Bradley, comes to the door and says, yeah, y'all can come in and see the kids. So the deputy goes in and physically sets eyes on the kid in question. And she puts in a report, he looked healthy, he looked okay. So whatever his condition that transpired occurred from that day to present.
From January 29th till now?
To present, yes.
When you ultimately did recover the child, what did he look like?
He was malnourished. He had bumps, bruises, cuts on his head. They had him dressed in just bulky clothes, like a hoodie and some pants that were like 3 sizes too big.
Was this taken the day he was recovered?
Yes, sir.
Was that diaper on him when he was found?
Yes.
Okay. And then this picture as well?
Yes. And there were some that we just couldn't release.
They were just too bad?
Yeah. Just pathetic. I mean, just never seen anything like it in my career, and it's horrific.
Right. What was his reaction to the police coming in?
I asked the sergeant on the scene that actually was the first one in the door. He said he kind of rolled off the bed and just kind of staggered toward him. He said he could barely walk. And he says a scene that he's never seen nothing like that ever before.
The other children, I assume, are in foster care?
Yes.
What do the police think happened here? Who's the driving force here? Was this the stepmother, the father, the 2 of them? What's going on here, in y'all's opinion?
I can tell you that we filed charges on both of them. The culpability is there. Once we are finished connecting the dots and putting the puzzle together, I feel there will be more charges filed on both of them.
Now, he is in custody right now, correct?
Yes.
And she's out on bail?
She is out on bail.
Now, were the other children healthy and well-nourished?
They appear to be, yes.
Okay. Did the 16-year-old or the other witness, the girl, offer any explanation of why this child was singled out, if in fact he was singled out?
They had said something about they would put him in the closet for punishment and sometimes leave him in there all day and stuff like that.
Unbelievable.
I really pondered about coming here, but I knew that you were going to help the kid. I knew it's all about the kid.
Yeah, we want justice here.
Yes.
And help the child.
Well, justice is coming, trust me. I'm here for the boy. I mean, because I think what you're doing is good, and I know he's going to need all the help he can get.
Coming up, the biological mom speaks out.
When I walked into that room, the child laying in that bed had the same eyes, but he did not look like the baby that I had seen 2 years before that.
What is this black mark on his right shoulder?
And later,
We're going inside this house, inside the closet, and inside the crawl space where this little boy was allegedly held.
we now return to a Dr. Phil exclusive, The Boy Under the Stairs.
Today, an exclusive look inside the closet where this precious little boy was allegedly held captive. And for the very first time, his biological mother reveals what her son has told her about the horrors he allegedly endured. So where was the boy's mother during the alleged abuse? She says she dropped him off for a visit 2 years ago at his paternal grandparents' house. She claims that Jordan's dad picked him up from that visit and never brought him back. What I want people to understand is that your son didn't just go missing 2 years ago and you go, well, darn that. That you worked and fought all along trying to get your son back.
Yes. As soon as I got off the phone with him that day, I called the police. And I mean, they instructed me that there was nothing that they could do for me.
You had custody of your son.
We had never gone to court for custody.
There was nothing formal even though y'all had split.
Yes.
You know where your child was inside that house. Mm-hmm. Did you knock on the door?
Oh, yes.
Did you say,
yes,
I want my son back?
I left notes on the door. I went over there with police officers. They wouldn't answer the door. They wouldn't answer my phone calls. They wouldn't reply to text messages, nothing.
Did you file a motion with the court for custody?
Yes, I filed with the Attorney General's office, and it took them almost 8 months to get me a court date.
And during all this time, you have no access to your son?
None. I messaged Tammy on Facebook begging her to just let me have some time with my child.
And what kind of response would you get?
All negative. She messaged me on Facebook threatening to file restraining orders on me for threatening her children. I never threatened her children. All I asked was to see my own child.
Right. What was it like to not have your little boy? I mean,
oh gosh, I mean, I had so many nightmares. I would wake up crying in the middle of the night. I mean, you hear people say about mother's intuition. I could truly feel that something was wrong. They completely shut me off from his life.
What was the explanation? I mean, what did his father say?
He had no reason for it other than what I really believe is spite. That's a bond that should never have been broken.
It's been 2 years, essentially, and then you get a phone call from the police.
It was the sergeant who, and I had actually called him out Friday morning to do a well child check, and Brad and Tammy were both at the house and told the officer that they had taken Jordan back to Alabama the night before. This officer actually happened to be from Alabama, and he knew how long it took to get there driving, and the time period that they were giving him did not match up. So he knew they were lying.
Okay, but this was the first that you knew that anything was wrong?
No. February the 15th, I got on my Facebook and I noticed that I had 3 messages. One was from Tammy's own brother, and then 2 of them were from women who used to babysit the children. And they were all saying, do you know where your son is? Do you know what's going on?
Knew something wasn't right.
Yes. I was so scared that they were going to find my child in a ditch somewhere.
Right.
No one could get a straight answer out of either of them where the child was. And then they found him in the hotel room in Humble with Brad and Tammy.
When this child was taken to the hospital, it's my understanding that he weighed 29 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't like he's a little thin.
No, the doctors told me that he was days away from starving to death.
You know, this is a picture taken on the gurney. What do you think when you look at this?
I think that those people are monsters. I don't understand how they could have done that to my sweet baby.
Now, according to the CPS, the officials visited the house on the 20th of February.
Yes.
And they said the child was not in this state of malnourishment.
That's a lie. I asked the pediatrician at the hospital, how long could this have gone on for it to be this bad? He told me no less than 4 months.
When you saw him in this condition, take me through that moment.
And I wanted to cry so bad, but I knew I had to be strong for him.
What is this black thing on his right shoulder?
That is a taser mark where Bradley tased him.
That's from an electrical shock?
Yes.
And how do you know that he was tased?
Not only did the medical professionals at the hospital say that it looked very similar to a taser mark, but the 16-year-old, who is Tammy's oldest son, he came up to the hospital and told me that he heard Bradley upstairs with the taser and he heard it go off. And then he heard Jordan say, ow. And then he heard Bradley tell him, you better shut up or you're gonna get another one.
You have to say that, of course, is an allegation. It hasn't been proven. What have the police told you about what they've learned about the abuse that he endured?
Coming up.
What did he tell you about the closet?
They left him in there, I mean, all day, all night. They would open it every so often to, I guess, make sure that he was still alive.
The Boy Under the Stairs, a Dr. Phil exclusive, continues.
Imagine the torture this child endured. Child Protective Services insists, no. A social worker visited and photographed the boy just 5 weeks ago and everything was fine and dandy.
Tonight we are getting our first look at the court records in this case.
They show CPS may have known about Jordan's abuse. Records indicate in January of this year, one of the kids in the home told his counselor abuse was going on, and his dad pushed his little brother's head against the wall. And whenever the little boy was allowed out of his closet under the staircase, he was forced to stand in the corner and eat dinner alone, according to these records.
What have the police told you about what they've learned about the abuse that he endured?
You can look at him and see the type of condition that he was in. He had enormous whelps and 3/4 of his face was black and purple. The doctors did a CAT scan that day and they told me they found old blood on his brain from the brain hemorrhaging from being hit in the head so hard. When I asked my baby what those bruises on his face were from, he told me that Brad put him in the corner for being bad. And then when he was being bad in the corner, that Brad hit his face on the wall. I will never forget that man for what he did to him.
The police report says that there were bumps, bruises, severely underweight, malnourished, bones sticking out, shoulder blades, ribs, and vertebrae showing through the skin.
Yeah.
Abrasions on the back, bleeding from the back, skin coming off of the back.
Oh yeah, it's something no child should ever have to endure.
What was the first thing your son said to you when you saw him?
Mommy. And it's never felt better for me to ever hear those words. I forgot what it was like to hear his voice because it had been so long. When I walked into that room, the child laying in that bed had the same eyes and the same smile and the same voice, but he did not look like the baby that I had seen 2 years before that. And it tore my heart up.
What did you say to him when you first saw him?
I told him that I missed him so much and that I promised that I would never be away from him again. You don't even have to be a medical professional to tell that that child was kept from food. When we first got him into the hospital, some of the family brought in some Nutella and crackers and he watched it like a hawk. He was so defensive. When we took him to the playroom up there, they have a little kitchen with all the fake food and stuff. I mean, this room is full of toys. The only thing he wanted to play with was that food.
Just so I'm clear, Where was this closet in the house, to your understanding?
Underneath the stairs. This is how they were able to hide him when CPS and the police came out. They had an extra little room inside of the room in the closet, and it was just a small little cubby hole. But if you put stuff in front of it, you can't even tell that there's a door there. The children called it the Harry Potter room because it was hidden.
What did he tell you about the closet?
I asked him if he had a bed, and that's when he told me he had one upstairs, but not downstairs. And I asked him, did you have a blanket? And he said, no. I said, what about a pillow? No. I asked him if he had gone to a doctor or a dentist, and he told me no.
I understand that he said that he was locked up with a padlock under the stairs, given drugs to sleep when people came over to the house.
I was told by some of Brad and Tammy's family friends that they were giving Jordan ADHD medication. I was also told that they were giving him antidepressants to keep him groggy so that when police or anything came over, so they just didn't have to deal with him.
But not let him out, just
no.
look at him.
They told the other children in the house that if they went down there and tried to help him, that they would get hurt. I know that Bradley had fought with the 16-year-old countless times when he went down there and tried to help Jordan out of the closet. Tammy's brother and her son had contacted me, and they were gonna try to literally go downstairs while they were asleep and pull them out of the closet and drive over to our house.
Did he actually mention the closet?
Oh yes. I mean, the babysitter told me that the day that because her and Tammy had been friends for about 8 or 9 years. And I mean, she told me she was at their house and Brad had to go to the store, and Tammy wanted Brad to take Jordan with him. So he went to the closet, and at that time, Jordan had been drugged. He was very woozy. Brad grabbed him by his shoulders and picked him up and put him on his feet. And then he said, come on, and Jordan didn't step right away, and so he grabbed him by the back of his head and slammed his face into the wall. And the babysitter told me that right then, she called CPS.
What's your understanding about how long he would be in that closet at a time?
They left him in there, I mean, all day, all night. They would open it every so often to, I guess, make sure that he was still alive.
Coming up.
When we come back, we're going inside this house, inside the closet, and inside the crawl space where this little boy was allegedly held.
We now return to a Dr. Phil exclusive, The Boy Under the Stairs.
This is a 5-year-old little boy. First, let me just tell you, he's alive, okay? He lived through a miracle. His bones are literally sticking out of his skin.
Police say his dad and stepmom kept him hidden away in a tiny closet under the stairs in the family's Houston area home.
Attorneys for Jordan's stepmother, Tammy Blymeyer, allowed us inside the house where police say the little boy was locked up inside a closet under the stairs. Now, I want you to watch for anything that might seem strange. Does the home appear to have been cleaned up? Tammy's attorney, Julie Ketterman, took us on the tour. Take a look.
This is Tammy's house.
Who all lives here?
She lives here with her 6 children, and then Brad moved in with Jordan when they got married 2+ years ago. She's pregnant with their 7th. So over to the left, we have the 16-year-old's bedroom.
Okay, it looks like we're under construction here.
It's just an older house. In here, this is the actual room that Jordan shared with his stepbrother.
So the 2 boys slept in here.
Right. This is them. And if you ask the 5-year-old sister, she says the same thing. This is where he slept.
Has this room been painted since the allegations have been made? Because it's still masked off.
Not.
And if two little boys lived in here, it looks awfully pristine if two little boys lived in here.
If it has not. I don't know anything about it. And then the last room we have is the girls' rooms.
So how many in here?
2. They're out of room up here. That's why Tammy sleeps downstairs.
Gotcha. Well, shall we
Head downstairs?
go downstairs?
Sure. This is the closet.
Okay.
Now what's interesting about it is if you open it, and I'm probably gonna, it's actually off the hinge. And you may have to do it.
All right, let me see.
But it's off this hinge, and it's been that way for quite a while. It comes open.
Okay, got it. I got it.
And then if you go back here,
Let me help you with it. How long have these clothes been in
they
here?
stay here. But back here, if you move all of the stuff, which is why it's just ridiculous that the 16-year-old says that this is where he stayed, there's baby clothes and baby items.
All right, so this is the stairway because it's slanted there.
Yes.
Okay, so this is what, maybe 4 by
Right.
3?
What the 16-year-old was saying is that Jordan actually had to stay in that room.
Back in here.
Right. And as you can see, not possible. And these are all the 1-year-olds because this is where it's basically her closet. And I think you can see the plastic drawers where all of her stuff is.
So for her to get to her 1-year-old's stuff, she went under a solid row of clothes, got down on her knees, opened this, and got stuff up for a
When you
1-year-old?
have 6 kids, you do what you can. I can show you also, I mean, this is where some of her kids' shoes are. She keeps her shoes in the living room over there and her clothes in a closet upstairs.
So Tammy's position that this child was never kept in this closet?
Never kept in the closet.
Never punished by being put in this closet?
Never punished by being put in the
Was
closet.
never in here, never in this cubbyhole crawl space.
It didn't happen.
Now, Tammy's attorneys insisted that her home had not been altered in any way. But I have to say, it appeared the bedroom Jordan's stepmother claims he slept in had been freshly painted. I saw paint rollers outside in the yard that were stained the same color as the walls inside. The home seemed like it had been thoroughly cleaned. Not a single thing was out of place. Yet an odor that smelled to me like, I don't know, cigarettes and urine hung in the air. Just my opinion. Coming up, the stepmother's side of the story.
Coming up,
The 16-year-old reports that that fight was over letting him out of this closet.
And it wasn't.
So he's lying.
He
The
absolutely.
16-year-old's lying.
Absolutely.
How did this happen?
and later,
I feel like I should have gotten a gun and went over there and kicked that door in.
Do you feel like you failed him?
we now return to a Dr. Phil exclusive, The Boy Under the Stairs.
Attorneys Julie Ketterman and James Heddleston are representing Tammy in a custody battle for her children. They say she's done nothing wrong and her children should be returned to her. We're sitting right now in front of the closet, alleged to have been the prison of this young child. True?
This is it.
Is this house staged for this interview?
Absolutely not. We have pictures before we even got your phone call of the house looking like this.
As I understand it, the allegations are that this child was kept in here, was not fed other than just bread and water. How did we get in this situation? How did this happen?
The child's definitely been neglected. It's obvious in the photographs. And the father needs to answer some serious questions about why he looks like that. The issue is, though, he hasn't been in this household. And the news has heard mom say, I haven't seen him without his shirt on. Well, the 20th of March, when she saw him, he came over wearing a black hoodie, and she didn't recognize that he looked that way. He's always been kind of a skinny kid, she says.
So there was a fight here between the 16-year-old and Brad.
Yes.
The 16-year-old reports that that fight was over letting him out of this closet.
And it wasn't.
So he's lying.
He
The
absolutely.
16-year-old's lying.
He is.
Absolutely.
Is the 14-year-old lying too?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Neither one of them have liked Brad since the day they got married, and they have been trying to get rid of Brad. So that was the issue. That's what the fight was.
When CPS had come here previously
Yes.
and asked to come in the house, did Tammy deny them access?
That's their allegation.
That's their allegation. I can tell you that CPS has been involved in this investigation since January. She's told them everything she knows.
What's she doing in this motel?
She was going to pick up the divorce papers.
Well, these are the pictures that were taken the day he was
Correct.
taken, that day.
This child has been abused and neglected, absolutely, but not by Tammy. I can show you pictures in February where he looked fine. This is Jordan.
That's that table right there?
It's that table right there where they were all eating. This is him in February. And this is him. This is actually one of the days that she met with CPS at the school.
Do you believe your client should be charged right now?
Absolutely not.
But she was charged.
What they're alleging is that she didn't do this, but that basically she turned a blind eye and didn't stop it. That's what the allegation is. But I believe once they get the full picture and understand that this child hadn't even been in this home, and even the CPS reports say that when they saw Jordan in February, he had no marks, no bruises, nothing.
Okay, and then it was then that he left here?
Correct.
Brad took him and left back to Alabama?
Back to Alabama.
CPS came to this house on the 27th of March. Okay, so she saw Jordan on the 27th.
Correct.
Why didn't she report it?
She didn't see anything. He had a black hoodie on. She didn't see
She saw him in this condition.
No.
She's saying that when the way that he was dressed and wearing a black hoodie, and he's always been a very skinny kiddo, but certainly she said she didn't see him with his shirt off that day. The photograph that you have there, she said she saw for the first time this past Tuesday.
My question is, if she saw this child, and she didn't seem like this.
No, she saw him with blue jeans and a
saw him
hoodie
with
with the hood on.
baggy
Right.
I dealt with a lot of anorexics. I
Right.
know you can hide with bulky clothes. And
Sure.
I have had discussions with Houston law enforcement, and this child was on death's door. This was a malnourished child
Absolutely.
that was on the brink of organ shutdown.
Absolutely.
And a mother of 6 kids, I don't see how you miss
Well,
that.
you just said that you've seen anorexics
I
and
have.
they know how to dress. If this dad was doing this to him, which we believe he was, don't you think he's going to dress him in a way that he can take him out in public and nobody's going to get suspicious? And here's what everybody needs to understand. The 2 people who are making these allegations are the 2 people that cannot stand Brad the most. One being a 16-year-old boy who's bipolar and not taking his medication. You talk to the other 5-year-old and the other child that don't have the motivation to lie, and they say, well, yeah, he slept in the room with the brother, and yeah, he played with me all the time, and yeah, he ate with us when we ate.
So if it turns out that Jordan was not in Alabama but was here,
Correct.
in this house between that time, then your client has a problem.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We'll see how it shakes out. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Nice meeting you.
Julie,
Thank you.
We, of course, reached out to Jordan's father, Bradley Blymeyer, who is currently in jail, as well as his attorney. They both declined to comment. Now, Tammy's attorney gave us this traffic ticket to back up their claim that Bradley left town and took his son to Alabama. The ticket puts Bradley in Alabama on January 23rd, 2014. They also provided us with medical records from March 2013. Jordan was apparently sick with a sore throat, but doctors noted he was an otherwise healthy boy who had a good appetite.
Coming up,
I should have gotten a gun and went over there and kicked that door in. But I knew I had to do things the right way because there was no way I would be able to fight for him if I was behind bars.
we now return to a Dr. Phil exclusive, The Boy Under the Stairs.
How are you doing?
Honestly, I haven't stopped to think about myself. I've been so concerned with him. I mean, what I went through is nothing compared to what that little boy went through.
Do you feel like you failed him?
I did. I felt like I should have gotten a gun and went over there and kicked that door in. But I knew I had to do things the right way because there was no way I would be able to fight for him if I was behind bars.
If in fact they were neglecting, abusing, failing to feed, protect, and nurture this child, if all of those things are true, if the allegations are true, who's the ringleader?
Honestly, they're both at fault. The family and friends have told me when they asked Tammy, why don't you stop him? Because of the way Bradley would punish him. And she would say, well, he's not mine, so it's not really up to me how he's disciplined. She had every part in it, just as much as him. She could have put her foot down. She could have stopped this. She chose not to.
Is he starting to be like he was before?
When I had him, Jordan, he was so happy. We loved to play and run around. I don't think that he's exactly back to the person that he was just yet, but he is definitely on his way there.
How do you feel about the fact that this woman's out walking around free right now?
That woman should never have been allowed to get out on a $2,000 bond for what she did to my child.
She said the 16-year-old doesn't respect the father, so he's lying about the abuse.
Yeah, that's what they told everybody. But that 16-year-old, he is a hero. If he wouldn't have done for my son what he did and allowed himself to be beaten up by Bradley because he was trying to help Jordan, my son, we would probably be having a funeral for him right now.
We now return to a Dr. Phil exclusive, The Boy Under the Stairs.
Any parent whose child has suffered is going to start asking themselves what if and why. You know, why couldn't I have stopped this? It's so easy to get consumed with guilt.
To blame yourself.
But what I got to tell you is guilt is like rocking in a chair. It's something to do, but you don't go anywhere. And what he needs at this point is his mother.
110%
He needs all of you. And if you're beating yourself up over what you didn't do or whatever, then he doesn't get all of his mother. Give yourself a break. You can focus on what you didn't do, or you can give yourself credit for what you did, and you have that boy back now. I'm glad we had this conversation. I hope you are too.
Me too.
Thank you so much. Wendy's attorney, Frank Mann, says she fought tirelessly for years to get her son back. And now that they have been reunited, Wendy is doing everything possible to be the loving mother Jordan needs. As you've reviewed this file, has this mother done what any mother could do to fight to get this child back?
I think so. CPS has some reservations right now. And the reason is because they quizzed her, have you ever used any illegal drugs? She was very forthright, and she said, yes, marijuana.
But she understands the importance of cleaning up on that front.
She's stopping. She's not addicted to it.
We will provide whatever resources to help her with that. That boy needs to be with his biological mother.
Your offer of providing some long-term counseling for the family and for Jordan is greatly appreciated.
It's just our gift to them.
Very good. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks. In the short time since we recorded these interviews, Jordan has made remarkable progress, according to his mother. He has gained weight and was strong enough to be released from the hospital. For now, Child Protective Services has custody, but he is living with his great aunt, and his mother, Wendy, has unlimited access to him. Thanks for watching. Today on Dr. Phil, this isn't fiction, it's real. Two men who say they were victims of Jeffrey Dahmer. The difference is they survived.
I was drugged and raped by Jeffrey. Technically, I'm supposed to be his second victim.
You had your hands broken, foot broken, feared for your life.
I cannot understand why anyone would want to glamorize that guy.
That's sick.
You felt the presence of evil when you were with him.
I was face to face with Satan himself.
Plus, a never-before-seen interview with Jeffrey Dahmer's father. Tell me about the locked wooden box.
If I would have opened that box and found what was in there, I think I would have lost it.
But we now know the box contained a human head. You know, today it seems like we have become a nation obsessed with true crime. The success of the new series Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, highlights our thirst for all things horrifying, gory, bloody, and real. Now, Monster landed the #1 spot on Netflix, was streamed for 200 million hours when it first dropped. Now, that's a lot of people spending a lot of hours consuming unthinkable, traumatic, and true events, really as entertainment, as fascination, as obsession. Take a look.
The #1 show on Netflix this weekend was the mini-series on murderer Jeffrey Dahmer. The film reopens some old wounds for some of Dahmer's victims.
Actor Evan Peters plays the infamous cannibal killer. This is the actor, and this is the monstrous Dahmer. Dahmer, a chocolate factory worker, lured unsuspecting young men to his Milwaukee apartment where he drugged and strangled them. He dismembered his victims and ate their body parts. Dahmer's bloody history finally came to an end when a young man he had targeted for death escaped the killer's apartment and alerted cops. Dahmer was arrested and confessed to 17 killings. Now the new Netflix series is bringing memories of Dahmer's vile deeds flooding back. The woman who vented her anger on Dahmer watched the show's recreation of that moment and says, "It felt like reliving it all over again. It brought back all the emotions I was feeling back then."
But we're going to discuss why true crime has become such a fascination and how it's really affecting us. But first, angry family members of Jeffrey's victims and some of his survivors say the controversial drama actually re-traumatized them, and they feel it romanticized this monster, Jeffrey Dahmer. Some of them are here today to tell their story so they can be heard. Now, you've seen Hollywood's version. Today, we're going to be talking about the real story, meeting the real people involved and showing you the real monster behind the man. And we'll talk to the sister of one victim today who says the series glorified the man she calls Satan. And later, we're going to show you intimate, never before seen interviews with Jeffrey's own father and stepmother. This has never been seen. Take a look.
Jeff did exhibit an interest in the way bones clanked as he picked them up and put them back into the metal pail. There definitely were warning signs that I missed. He roamed around the country roads where we lived and gathered on his bike with big plastic bags the remains of various animals. And he kept these animals and felt them, explored them, their insides. He was extremely secretive and devious.
Now, what you just got a glimpse of is all coming up, but first, I want to welcome two men who say they were victims of Jeffrey Dahmer. The difference is they survived. Preston Davis and Billy Capshaw. Gentlemen, it's so good to meet you, and I mean that at two levels. It's good to meet you, and it's good that you're still here and alive and able to be met, because you now know a lot more about this individual you were dealing with and realize you could easily have been numbers 18 and 19. That's hard to think about.
Yes, sir. It's real hard to think about, and it almost happened. You know, I went to the military when I was 17 years old and left home from a place in Arkansas, a little small town. And moving forward, I got to Germany, and there was a jolly guy who introduces me to my next roommate, and it was Jeff Dahmer. That was the first day I was there.
Okay, so when you're first there, he says you're going to have a roommate. This is him. This is Jeff Dahmer.
This is Jeff
and
Dahmer.
Preston, how did you meet Jeff?
I actually met Jeff. I was in Germany from 1977 to 1980. I had about 8 months left in country, and my sergeant asked me to train a new gentleman, which was Jeffrey Dahmer, and that was July of '79. He told me that he would promote me to sergeant, and so we were out on a field exercise in Belgium, and I was to train him to be a medic. And the last few days of our exercise, our vehicle broke down, and during that time, I was drugged and raped by Jeffrey. At that time, I had no recollection of it. The following month, we were at a Thanksgiving dinner, and I had actually got into an altercation with Jeff, put him out into a blizzard. He came back with blood on his hands, didn't know where he'd been, what he'd done. Now, the only way I found that out was I was on the serial killer website, and I found out I was in a book called The Shrine of Jeffrey Dahmer, which was written by Brian Masters, and it mentioned me by name. It described the incident, and that kind of blew me away. At that point, I still really hadn't put it all together. And then when I left, this gentleman here replaced me. And I was contacted in 2012 to do a film on men rape in the military called Justice.Denied. And so that's when I met Billy, and we went to Albuquerque, and we were in that film. And then it just started to take off. You know, God started revealing little bits and pieces. I went through my records. I realized I had all kind of rectal issues throughout my career. And that's basically how we met. And we've been doing this ever since.
What was your first impression of
Jeffrey? Was a very obnoxious individual. He was very different. And when I say that, I mean, you know, the average gentleman at 17 or 18 would talk about when we played football or basketball in high school, or I dated this girl, or I dated that girl. That was never discussed. He was just a very aloof type individual, smart, but just different. And, you know, once he drank, his whole personality would change. He was very racist. He talked about blacks, Jews, you know, how he was better than. And I remember precisely, you know, what he drank. He was a beef eater's gin drinker. And there was an incident where he urinated in my boots, and I beat him up because I boxed prior to going into the military, and they moved him out of my room. I didn't remember that. I thought I was fighting him because he called me out of my name. But one of the soldiers that I was stationed with recently told me that's what that altercation was about. Mm-hmm. And so I believe that was part of the reason why I was assaulted, as well as him being opportunistic. The reason I'm sitting here today, Dr. Phil, is again, I was in Belgium. He had no way to get back to Germany. So if he had killed me, the questions would have been, well, where's Sergeant Davis? So technically, I'm supposed to be his second victim because he murdered Stephen Hicks in 1978. Mm-hmm. And he talked about that when he was drunk. Oh, I killed a guy. And we're like, you ain't kill anybody. Who would believe that somebody said they killed somebody?
Right.
So,
Billy, when you met him, you said at first that he was really friendly and
charismatic, friendly, kind of bows when he shakes your hand, kind of chuckles.
So you meet him at first, and yes, he's very friendly at first, and so you're bucking with him. Mm-hmm. At first you think, okay, I've drawn a pretty good roommate here. This nice guy.
First, but after
the second night, things took a different turn.
Yes, sir.
You watched a little bit of the series. What was your reaction?
I threw up. I cannot, for the sake of me, understand why anyone would want to glamorize that guy at all. That's sick.
At first, you think, okay, I've drawn a pretty good roommate here. This nice guy.
First, but after
the second night, things took a different turn.
Yes, sir.
What happened the second night?
He raped me, drugged me, and I'd have to, jumped out a window, two-story window, broke my pelvis and my hip.
Okay, now this was the second night.
I was there, yes,
that
sir.
You were there.
Yes, sir.
And You said he drugged you and raped you.
Yes.
And he also beat you.
Yes, he beat me so hard that I of course yelled, but if I yelled, he would hit me harder to stop the yelling. I just gave up. I just gave up, you know, and I cannot, for the sake of me, understand why anyone would want to glamorize that guy at all. That's sick. You know, it has to stop.
Dr. Phil, I believe the military knew. I spent a many a night laying in my house, and I'm like, how could they not know? Because I was in the military. He had a very short stint. I was in almost 10 years. And so, you know, I knew the structure on how it went. You make formation, which is where you're accounted for, where we have all the cooks, whatever. And then you run, you shower, and then you go to your particular job area. This man never made formation. Jeff made formation when I was there. How in the heck could they not know that this man was being tortured? I wrestled with that, and I finally came to the conclusion that everything in this spiritual realm or in the flesh is not for me to know. Something, God knows all. It's not for me to know, because I would have lost my mind trying to figure out how in the hell did the military, they had to know.
They did know.
They had to know.
I have a letter that was written to me about 10 years ago from a warrant officer. He was under investigation for the death of a man named Hans. He was the last one seen with Hans.
He who?
Jeff.
Jeff was under the investigation, I'm sorry, for the murder of a man named Hans. Yeah, they knew.
You watched a little bit of this of the series. What was your reaction?
I threw up. Made me sick to think that someone would take advantage of a community, a black community, African-American community, LGBTQ community. All these people that I've been fighting for since I've got hurt. All these people that, and then some guy comes in, and I have a better choice of words I can't use on TV, comes in and undermines everything that these people stand for. I think he re-victimized them, re-traumatized them, shamed them, the whole gamut. They call me. You know, this lady and this guy from Netflix call me. I am not doing anything for them like that. And I said, if it's to glamorize them, I'm hanging up right now. And she started to try to explain to me what they were doing. And I got off the phone. I'm not doing it.
Have you watched any of it?
Yes, I did watch it. I felt it was over the top. They didn't need to present it the way that they did. I think it was insensitive for the way it was done. The majority of people know the story, at least the civilian part of it. I think they glamorized it. But on the other token, I felt that overall it needed to be told, because there are people like myself and people in the audience that serial killers are normal. They look normal, they talk normal, they act normal. And so the public needs to be aware that there are people walking amongst us that are potential killers.
They got the character wrong in the movie, by the way. I don't know where they came up with that. I actually watched some of it, and it did trigger me. And, you know, that's not how he acts. Jeff is very charming, very charismatic. He was successful at everything he did in there.
And this still affects you today?
Yes, sir, it does. I've lost a son over this. A 20-year-old son shot himself because of this.
How so?
He hated me talking about it. Everybody was talking about it. He said, Dad, would you please stop talking about this?
Billy claims he reported Jeffrey's abuse to a nurse and even did a rape kit. So how come Jeffrey wasn't stopped right then? We'll talk about that next. He broke your hand, he broke your foot.
Yes.
He stabbed you.
He stabbed me, I think we counted 30 times. And this actually is a fingerprint right here.
I see that.
Grab it here and choke.
Dahmer was 33 when he told Nancy Glass about his twisted motive for killing 17 men.
Not because I was angry with them, not because I hated them, but because I wanted to keep them with me. And as my obsession grew, I was saving body parts such as skulls and skeletons, and eventually I did turn to cannibalism.
That man had his hands on both of you.
Yes, sir.
What's your reaction to hearing him speak and say those things, knowing that he had you incapacitated, drugged, and had his hands on you?
I really suffered once I realized what happened to me of survivor's guilt. I basically suppressed my feelings with drugs and alcohol for a while. It's a miracle that I'm still married. But I blame myself for what happened to Billy because I didn't remember. And I remember when I met Billy and Billy had told my wife what happened, and my wife asked Billy, how could he not remember? 30 years, Dr. Phil, I did not have any inkling what happened to me. When he got caught, I didn't realize what happened to me. I was actually watching a show on serial killers in 1992 in Virginia, and what cued me was they showed the patch. We had an 8 on our uniform, and at that point, I still didn't realize I had been raped, but I realized that I had been stationed with him. And so it was years later that I realized what had happened to me, and it just kind of blew me away, you know.
Well, Preston, he says that he didn't commit any crimes out of hate, but you said you sensed racism and hate spewing out of him.
Yes. I was not afraid of Jeff. I actually knocked Jeff out because he urinated in my boots, and they moved him out of my room. And that was early on when I met him in probably July or August of '79. So he was definitely a racist. But it's not for me to say, you know, I'm not going to play the race card and say he was, you know, it was white privilege. But that's something Billy.
It was white privilege.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
The charisma, the good-looking guy from Wisconsin, and he played all these people. And he's lying in that interview. He's lying. He was a practiced liar, practiced manipulator, practiced everything. How can you get like that young?
He would rape and beat you
continuously, all the time.
How many times a week?
I wasn't counting, sir, but I will tell you it was more than 5. It was more than, it depended on how much he drank. I actually stole his money out of his wall locker while I was doing that. I found ketamine bottles. I was a medic as well at 17 years old. I found ketamine. I found lorazepam or Ativan.
He kept you injured. He broke your hand.
He broke
your foot.
Yes.
He stabbed you.
He stabbed me, I think we counted 30 times. And this actually is a fingerprint right here.
I see that.
I'm grabbing here and choke.
He stabbed you 30 times.
He said that he was going to take my prostate out. I was tied up at the time. He had given me something IV, which as medics we had, you know, access to all that stuff.
You're in the military. You had a rape kit done.
You would never think that this would happen.
You told a nurse you had a rape kit done.
Right.
What happened?
She threw it away. And I communicate with this nurse all the time. She's in a VA healthcare.
It's a senior or a VA.
She's been in there since 1984 or 5.
Yeah. Institutionalized.
Institutionalized.
So somehow or another, she threw it away.
These guys need to understand, Ryan Murphy and all these people who developed this stuff need to understand that's what happens. I'm lucky I didn't kill myself. I attempted suicide 3 times. I was going to kill him, okay? I wanted to kill him. Trust me, he almost died. But I had enough sense and a great enough family and a mother that would have not understood that. I wanted my mama. I wanted my brothers and my 5 sisters. I wanted them back. And I knew if I killed myself, I knew if I killed him, I'd never see him again.
Does it help you to be able to tell your side of the story now, here?
Yes, it does. I'm happy to get to tell it. And I'm going to talk and talk and talk, because you don't know what your freedom is until it's taken away.
You said you were afraid to report this. What do you think would have happened if you had said this?
My own people would have killed me. They would have.
Your unit?
They would have, yes. Yes, back then you were not allowed to be gay, and that was the first thing they would have thought. I didn't tell my own father, okay? My mother knew it already. I was going to a psychiatrist and nobody even knew. And, you know, it's just hard, the shame that you get from a community.
They both think there may have been other victims in Germany. Jeffrey Dahmer returns to the base one night with blood on him, and it corresponds with someone going missing, which they find out a bit later. Plus, we're going to meet the sister of one of Jeffrey's victims who came face to face with this monster in court. She said she is sickened by how the Netflix series glorified the man who she called Satan. That's next.
Only the sister of Errol Lindsay was unable to contain her rage.
I don't want to ever see my mother have to go through this again. Jeffrey, I hate you. I hate you.
I'm back talking with two gentlemen that intersected in their lives with Jeffrey Dahmer, Preston and Billy. Before I have a few more questions for you guys, I'm curious, how many here have seen the Netflix series Dahmer? Okay, that's almost everybody here. As graphic as it was, I think sometimes if the focus is on him and not the tragedy, pain, and suffering of the victims, this affects the two of you for the rest of your life. And you say you were beaten and tortured and raped time and time and time again. You say you've had rectal issues throughout your life. You had your hands broken, foot broken, feared for your life, reached out for help, no one listened, the pain you endured night after night. And you guys do believe that he was going off base and victimizing others. He did show up covered in blood, with blood on him.
Yeah, he had so much blood on him that when he took his clothes off, he had to peel his clothes off. That's
Peel
how
them
much,
off?
Peel them off.
Because they were stuck to him with blood?
They were stuck to him. He had been out, he had been gone all weekend.
How do you show up covered in blood and everybody goes, hey, hey?
Because you're not going through a lock post. Like if you were to go to like a Fort Hood or another base, you may have to go through a gate. Baumholler was an open community, and you just come right up into the road, park your car and go into the barracks. You have one person, we call him a CQ, charge of quarters. You could very easily cover with a coat. You know, going back to 1979, and we just recently figured this out. 1979, when I talked about where we got into altercation and he came back, that was November 22nd, which was Thanksgiving. Erica Hanstoof had been missing approximately 5 days. They found her body on November 30th. So with Jeff coming back with blood on him, we surmised that he murdered her. That was within that time frame. Hans, that was murdered, I knew personally was a German national because we used to get together and play cards on the weekend. His murder took place after I left Germany, as did the Pond Man. So Billy could expound on those two individuals.
Yeah.
But he definitely was killing in Germany.
Well, Rita Isbell is the sister of one of Jeffrey Dahmer's victims. She was so overcome with emotion when she came, as she says, face to face with evil at Jeffrey Dahmer's sentencing, that she threatened to kill him and was dragged out of the courtroom.
Never, Jeffrey! Jeffrey! I hate you! I hate you! Something's out of control! Don't Jeffrey, I kill you! God damn it, look at me!
That's real. Rita Isbell, the sister of Errol Lindsay, joins us now remotely. She says watching portions of Monster on Netflix left her feeling like she was reliving her worst nightmare. Rita, it's an honor to meet you.
Same here. I'm just, listening to the two gentlemen. It just blew my mind. That lets me know that I was right the whole time when I was in front of him, Dr. Phil. I felt it.
You felt the presence of evil when you were with him.
I felt it. I felt it.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Just talk through the tears. What did you feel like? What did you feel a presence when you looked him in the eye?
I was face to face with Satan himself. My brother was the one he drilled the hole in the head and poured the acid in. And my brother woke up and told him he had a headache, so therefore he had to kill him then. That's when he strangled him.
All through the trial, they were trying to portray Jeffrey Dahmer as being insane and out of control, and you didn't buy that for a second.
No.
You thought this was purposeful, intentional, and he knew exactly what the hell he was doing.
You heard the two gentlemen. Yes. He started out with them and brought it on to Milwaukee.
Did you know that your brother had met him at the time, or was this something that you learned after the fact?
I learned after the fact. After the fact. I'm still learning. I'm still learning right today.
And what weighs on you the most heavily, Rita?
Every time I think that I'm done with the story, new stories come out, just like today. I feel so bad for the two gentlemen. I really feel bad for you. I do. That's why I'm crying right now. I'm crying for them.
When you think about this, do you think about Jeffrey Dahmer, or do you think about what your brother went through? What is it that haunts you the most?
Well, 31 years ago, the time has passed, so I was kind of dealing with it. But since the movie came out, and the way he told the movie and showed the movie and lied about him contacting us, he didn't contact none of us. And he said that he did, Ryan Murphy.
He did not contact you or anyone in your family?
No. No.
Let me read you a statement that he made. Ryan Murphy, the creator of the series Monster, claims he did reach out to victims prior to production of Monster. According to the Hollywood Reporter, quote, over the course of the three and a half years when we were really writing it, working on it, we reached out to around 20 of the victims' families and friends, trying to get input, trying to talk to people, and not a single person responded to us in that process. So we relied very, very heavily on our incredible group of researchers who, I don't even know how they found a lot of this stuff, but it was just like a night and day effort to us trying to uncover the truth of these people.
Don't act like you know me. You know, don't act like you know that history of that trauma. She don't know nothing. And I said she should have listened to me and the families They could have toned that down. They could have toned it down.
Well, Dr. Phil, I want to say this, and Rita, I'm sorry for your loss. To me, it should have never got to the 17. I can understand me because I was drugged and it was a one-time incident. But knowing the military for 10 years, they could have stopped it with him.
And Rita, none of this was portrayed, and your brother lost his life. Tell us about your brother.
Well, he just went to go and get a key made and ran into Jeffrey Dahmer. He asked him, would you like to make extra money doing our jobs? He said, yeah, let me go in here and get this done and come back out. He came back out. He told him, well, you have to come back with me to my apartment for more details. My brother was the one he drilled the hole in the head and poured the acid in. And my brother woke up and told him he had a headache, so therefore he had to kill him then. That's when he strangled him. Yes, child. Jeffrey Dahmer, like they said, he should have been caught many years ago. He had his way here in Milwaukee. Jeffrey Dahmer owned Milwaukee.
You say that you think Jeffrey poured something into your brother's head to try to turn him into a zombie.
Recorded. Yeah, that's what happened. According to what Jeffrey Dahmer said, the gentleman was saying that the military knew about it. I feel that the police department here, they knew about it too. He had his way here in Milwaukee. Jeffrey Dahmer owned Milwaukee.
He robbed you of your brother, and he robbed your brother of this whole life he had stretching ahead of him. And describe your brother growing up. I mean, this is a young man that you love dearly.
Yes, he was more like my son than my brother. Very outgoing, very strong personality. He was a big brother to my children. He loved sports. He loved to eat. He tried to cook. It's not a whole lot you can tell because he was just what, 34 days of being 19. His birthday was March 3rd. He left home April 7th. And I don't know if he even knew that he had children on the way.
Well, I think it's so important that you have the voice and you're able to put this in perspective so people don't buy this fiction, this fantasy about who Jeffrey Dahmer was, because this was a cold-blooded, calculated killer. And there's no other way to spin that. This was a premeditated, planful, calculating killer that preyed upon those that he could get an advantage on, that he could get leverage on, including this young brother of yours. And I just so hate that for you. I hate what he was robbed of. I hate what you were robbed of. And I tell you, you were my hero in that courtroom. You gave a voice to what so many people felt and what needed to be said. And I was so proud of you for, giving your feelings a voice at that point. And I'm going to ask you to stay with us here. We're going to take a break. Coming up, I want to talk about the obsession with this whole thing, true crime with Jeffrey Dahmer. Is our thirst for this kind of content desensitizing us to it, where we don't really think about the impact on the victims? We'll talk about that next. And later, we're going to go inside the mind of a serial killer and hear the truth about who he was, not the Hollywood version. And we're going to hear it because you're going to see a never before aired interview I did with Jeffrey Dahmer's father and stepmother. You're going to find out what they knew and what they felt when they found out what they didn't know. Coming up. It was said he had even impaled a dog's head on a stick.
I don't know if it's really true, but he told me that he found this dog that he decapitated.
Do you believe that there were warning signs that as a father you should have seen? We've run out of time, but tomorrow we're going to continue talking about the man behind the monster. Who was Jeffrey Dahmer? The depth of his evil is much deeper than what could ever be portrayed in a scripted drama. Plus, our never-before-seen interview with Jeffrey's father and the stepmother that helped raise him.
Next time.
If your kid is going around collecting dead animals, cutting them open and exploring them, how do you not know that?
I guess I was a little bit naive.
It was said that he had even impaled a dog's head.
He told me that he decapitated and put on a stake.
Tell me about the locked wooden box.
If I would have opened that box and found what was in there, I think I would have lost it.
But we now know the box contained a human head.
Psychopaths are born. Sociopaths are made. People that become serial killers start learning how to lie and manipulate when they are very young. They're always looking. They're always hunting.
There are Jeffrey Dahmers walking among us right now. A Dr. Phil 3-day special.
That's next time.
You do not want to miss that. What was Dahmer's childhood really like? How did he develop a fascination with bones and dead animals? And how did he connect sexuality with roadkill? In a never-before-seen interview, I asked his father that very question. Also, see home video that could never predict the heinous crimes he would go on to commit. I want to thank all of my guests today. For more information about today's episode, or if you want to share your own story, log on to drphil.com. And if you want to add your voice to the conversation, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook. Now, I have a podcast, Fill in the Blanks, and I provide what I think is critical information on some of the most important issues that we're facing today. I talk to some real experts in some things that you have told me are important to your quality of life. Also, check out Robin's podcast, I've Got a Secret with Robin McGraw. She talks to functional medicine specialist Kelsey Kohler and shares her triumphant story of using her education and passions to escape her cult. All this is for free on Apple Podcasts or really wherever you listen to your podcast. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. Thanks. Today on Dr. Phil, social media.
People would ask me, is that your room? And I would say, yes, it was. But they didn't see the behind the scenes.
Stacks of cups, dirty dishes, a pit of depression.
And thinking it goes too far. So you'll film yourself doing your makeup, putting on great looking outfits, and you ain't going anywhere.
Correct. I don't think your average person wants to see you just sitting on your couch watching TV.
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today is going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
Get ready to take care of you. Well, here's a question for you. Are you a social media lurker? Sounds pretty creepy, right? But before you judge, it is actually very common. How often do you scroll through social media platforms to stare at other people's photos and videos and think, well, that person's surely living their best life. They're traveling, going to fancy restaurants, dressed up so nice. Here I am sitting at home, looking at their life. But this is not just a teen issue. Over 60% of men and 55% of women are addicted to constant scrolling to see what other people are doing, leaving many feeling lonely and comparatively unhappy. Take a look.
Many of us cannot live without our phones, tablets, or computers. We're constantly connected through social media sites.
But research suggests a link between spending excessive time on social media and depression. A recent study found the average person spends more than 5 years of their lives on social media. So a lot of people love it, but there are a lot of negative side effects.
People put very selected, curated versions of their life up on social media. And so that's an opportunity for people to feel inadequate, for them to feel a sense of envy.
Beauty filters and friend-filled videos can make comparison the thief of joy, and a lot of it's not real.
That can mean going down a rabbit hole of leading people to depths of depression.
Now, Amy says she's been a widow for several years, which left her a single mom. While parenting and work have kept her busy, she's had little time for a social life, so she admittedly turned to social media, where she talks to virtual friends and wonders if this is why she feels lonely.
My name is Amy, and I am on the frequent flyer plan of social media. I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, TikTok, and Facebook. I take my phone with me everywhere. I love my phone. I take it to the bathroom, I take it to work. I find that the loneliness comes on strongest at night. I'm typically driving home by myself. No one's there waiting for me, and so I get on my phone. It feels comforting and it feels safe. There are a lot of times when, rather than going out with friends, I go home and I get on social media. The friends that I make online, they're not really my friends, and that's kind of empty. You do see a lot of glowing, happy romances, and at times it does remind me of what I don't have. My adult life has been laced with loss. I lost my mother, my father, my sister, and my brother. I do think the social media can have the effect of making me lonelier. It reminds me of things that I'm missing. I spend so much time on social media, and yet, at the end of the day, I'm alone. It's me and my phone.
When people think about social media and jumping around, they tend to think about teens, but we all do it, right?
Definitely.
And you said you wonder if being on social media is one of the reasons that you're lonely and not getting out with other people.
I do wonder that.
Well, do you really?
I mean, I think it's somewhat obvious, yes. But I work nights, I work a lot. And so it's an option of something to do. And in some ways, at first, I thought it was going to help me be less lonely because it was a form of a connection, but it's not a real connection.
No, it's not.
You don't know these people.
Yeah, you get likes, clicks, little hearts, things like that. But you really don't, there's no connection, there's no warmth. And you really have no idea who it really is, right?
That's true too. And you don't know their tone. A lot of times people get offended or happy by something that is said to them, and that might not be the tone it's meant in.
But isn't it easier to keep your sweats on and your socks or your fuzzy house shoes and just go back and forth? It is easier.
Well, I think it's also in the post-COVID time that we're kind of in, not completely post, but after the crisis of COVID, we got used to that too. How do we entertain ourselves at home?
Yeah.
I will watch a movie and have my phone, have social media on my phone at the same time. I shouldn't be bored. You know, I've got both.
You say it's safer than interacting with people in the real world. Why?
Sometimes. I don't know if that's true all the time, but I can choose what I reveal about myself. I don't reveal a lot.
My staff gives me feedback about people when they're interviewing and talking, and I get all kinds of information about you before I meet you. And what everybody said about you is that you had a great personality. You were really engaging and warm and participative. They described you as being like really fun to talk to and be around.
Thank you.
True?
I hope so, yeah. I think
are
so.
you that way?
I very much enjoyed the time I spent with your staff, and I enjoy my time with people.
Yeah.
I like connecting with people. I like things live much better than virtual.
Yeah, but you say a lot of times people will ask you work-related or whatever, like, hey, you want to go out afterwards or whatever, and you go, yeah,
True.
I'll go home and
True.
just get on social media.
I drive a long drive.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to drink and drive, so I
Right.
don't do that. Doesn't mean I have to drink to go out and have a good time, but that's what they're going to do. Not that they're going to drive, but they're going to go out and go to the bar across the street. But I don't. And my therapist has suggested find some groups. I'm like, where are these groups? I don't know where I would find that, or what my interest is that would relate. So I'm at a loss for what to do nowadays with my time.
Well, you may kiss some frogs along the way, but you got to, engage with people to find
Right.
out
I
if
don't
there's a
meet
common interest or whatever.
Yeah.
You may talk to some people that have no interest that you share.
Of course.
Or you may go out with a group from work or something, and they're all a bunch of nerds or whatever, and you don't like it. But you've got to, you'll have some dead ends, but you might meet somebody that you really click with. And how long ago did you lose your husband?
2008.
Mm-hmm. And you say you're still coping with that some.
Yes, it's our child looks exactly like him, which is a blessing. And he was born on Valentine's Day, and he was 17 months old when Bruce passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been hard. He's missed having a father, and I missed him having his father.
Yeah.
Because he would have been dynamite.
But you do think social media could be getting in your way?
Absolutely.
Well, there's pretty much a straight line correlation. The more time you spend on social media, interestingly, the more at risk for, and the more you do actually obtain depression, anxiety, and loneliness.
Mm-hmm.
So the more time you spend on social media, as that screen time goes up, so does depression, anxiety, and loneliness. And you can imply from that it's because it's crowding out other aspects of your life.
Mm-hmm. Or you can misrepresent.
Exactly.
You can create a persona online that has nothing to do with what you're really like.
Oh, we're going to talk about that.
I bet.
Coming up, we're going to talk with someone who created a fake private plane interior that people use to pose for social media. Honestly, how many of you would say you do, at least unconsciously, compare yourself to what you see online? Raise your hand. Raise it real high. Look at that. Look at that. And later, we're going to hear why one influencer quit because she felt the social media world was just too toxic. Mm-hmm. We'll be right back. People can get on there and take pictures and pretend they're totally on a private jet.
My intention was to inform others of the lack of veracity of most social media.
One of the dangers of social media is that it's addictive. And I think of myself, I know that I'm addicted in a way. You can follow someone for a long time and you don't really know them. And you kind of start feeling like you do, but you really don't. I do all my social media alone, and I realize that there is a sadness that is underneath it.
Today we're talking about how the manipulation of social media erodes the mental health of Americans, young and old. Now, I just ask you, how many of you compare yourselves to what you see online and it looked like the wave? So if you raised your hand, raise it again and tell me what is it? How does that happen? What do you do? Okay.
I'm Amanda. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Amanda.
So, yeah, actually this last summer I had to delete my social media because I was comparing my life. I'm in grad school. And so during the summer, I went back to like an acai job. And so on social media, I was seeing influencers and they were able to travel and they were getting all of this money and just seeing them do really fun things. And then I was just comparing my life and I was like, I'm working really hard. I'm trying to better myself and better my career. And then these people are showing how great their lives are. So I ended up deleting it all.
And so did you feel inferior by comparison?
Yeah.
Well, first off, when you're in graduate school, you have no life.
Amen.
Right?
Yeah, amen.
So that's just a block out of your life that it's like being blackout drunk. You have no recollection of that. Like you don't know any TV shows, music, anytime during that period of time.
Wow,
so,
yeah, you know my life.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I've been to graduate school, so I know. But you were comparing and saying, God, I'm dull compared to this. And you felt like you were missing out.
Yeah.
My next guest, Maddie Moe, is a performance artist known for his highly creative art installations, including painting 3 houses in Los Angeles bright pink that were scheduled for demolition, and creating what's called the jet experience, simulating the experience of flying on a private jet. Now, he claims the purpose of the experience is entirely for social media optics and to mock others who stage photos that are not for real. And please welcome Maddie Moe from New Mexico, where he's working on his latest project. Maddie, how you doing?
I'm well, Dr. Phil. Thanks for having me.
Well, I think you are brilliant. I really do. Some of the things that you've done, and I've followed you for a good while, and you do some things that are really, really creative. And I love the jet experience in particular. And we're looking at a picture of it now, where I just love this. And so people can get on there and sit and take pictures and pretend they're totally on a private jet flying off to Switzerland or somewhere, right?
That's right. And I'm a big fan of you too. So thank you for that kind introduction. You used the words mock, and I don't think that was actually my true intention. I mean, my goal is to make good art, and good art is using the tools of your time to tell the stories of your time, and really to be a mirror on society for them to reflect on kind of what's going on in the world. And so my intention, while it may have mocked some, was to inform others of kind of the lack of veracity of most social media going on today, and allow people to adjust their lives accordingly.
Yeah, well, I'll say exposed. Maybe that's a good way to say it, or shine a light on it, because I thought it did just that. I thought it was so revealing, and you've done other things the same way, and I think a lot of the things you've done have brought joy to people just to get to participate in like this this pink house.
I view social media as a tool. I try not to get engrossed in it or obsessed with it or doom scroll. And the thing I'm doing next is really trying to empower folks who are less involved in the influencer world, which is about what I have, where I've been, what I ate, and more about empowering creators, what I think, what I wrote, what I created, and building a community of folks like that, and kind of encouraging the younger generation that while social media is not going to go away, there is a correct way to use it. And there are different types of aspirations other than getting lots of followers and playing the social media slot machine for likes, comments, and dopamine hits.
Boy, I hope people listen to that. I really do. And I think what you're doing is brilliant. Keep it up. Keep it up, man. So how do social media influencers feel about what they do for a living? We're going to talk to one who has some surprising secrets to share next. A lot of times you're staging the whole thing.
I would say a good half of it is set up for the intention of posting. Doing
your makeup, putting on great looking outfits, and you ain't going anywhere.
Correct.
My next guest, Talitha, admits she relies on other people looking at her social media content to earn a living, and does not mind staging certain moments to appear more appealing to others. But is that a good thing?
What's poppin', everybody? It's your girl, Talitha. My name is Talitha Jones, owner of the social media pages Talitha Jane. I live in Denver, Colorado, and My pages mainly focus around fashion, lifestyle. I'm going to show you guys my Telfar collection. I have the cream and the brown. I have azalea, bubblegum, and corned beef. I can personally attest to social media being fake because I have faked quite a few things. It's that time of year. We're entering NBA wife season. I'm getting ready for a basketball game. I'm gonna walk in there like this is my show. Most of the time, I'm getting ready to go sit on my couch. I'm not going anywhere.
Here's the wig, y'all, 40 inches. I have no idea why it took me so long to try blonde hair, but I can honestly say we are never going back.
Your everyday person doesn't want to watch you do boring things. So in order to keep that content creation up, we have to stage it and just kind of sprinkle some extra flavor in there.
Here's the lashes. I got like glitter.
A lot of social media is staged, especially in this generation of looking perfect for the internet. We have a lot to prove, nothing to really show for it. So if your personality is shining through on any social media platform, I feel like it can be successful whether you're telling the truth or lying in every single video. If I love something, I buy it in every color because I feel like I deserve to be seen in it more than once. Delusion is a beautiful thing, let me tell you.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing amazing.
Okay, so you consider yourself an influencer.
I do, correct.
And is that how you make your living?
It is.
And you're good at it, right?
I'm amazing at it.
Yeah. And you acknowledge that a lot of times you're staging the whole thing.
About half, I would say a good half of it is set up for the intention of posting, correct?
Okay, so you'll film yourself doing your makeup, putting on great looking outfits, getting all set up to go, and you ain't going anywhere.
Correct. I'm going to take the picture.
Don't you feel better? You didn't miss out on anything.
Oh, not at all.
So you do that, and then you just take it all off and go sit down and watch reruns of Dr. Phil?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. You don't see anything wrong with it at all?
No. Mm-mm. I feel like the difference between myself and a lot of other influencers is I have no problem admitting that there wasn't a basketball game or a dinner or an event to go to. My content is more authentic to me as a person as opposed to what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. So why bother saying you're going to the game instead of just saying, hey, I'm just getting all dolled up to show you guys how hot I can get or how fashionable or how whatever?
So
is it just a storyline?
There is a storyline, but also a lot of my content as a fashion influencer is I focus on inspiring other people who are doing these things. So maybe you are going to a basketball game or you are going on a date or a dinner and putting an outfit together for that viewer to take inspiration from it.
Because you're out there, do people hate on you?
All the time. When you're putting yourself online, you're opening up your life for people to comment on it. Like I can't post on social media and expect no one to have an opinion. And that's not to say their opinion is justified, but as a person who does social media and anyone who uses social media really has to know that you are putting things in public spaces.
Yeah. But you believe that you're a generation of looking perfect for the internet.
I do.
That you're kind of in a voyeuristic generation.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Now, how many of y'all get hate messages on what you put up? Really? Do you have private accounts or public accounts? Oh, that's the deal. Okay.
Maybe all of us, the ones who write bad stuff, like hater stuff.
Oh, are you a hater?
No, I'm kidding. But I did something when I was younger until I get myself one, and it hurt me, and then I understood that I shouldn't do that.
Well, did you ever talk about me?
I never knew you until today.
Oh,
But you have very beautiful wife.
okay. Yeah. Everybody says I have a beautiful wife and I look like Fido. Okay. If you thought that there was someone at home that was watching and comparing themselves to you and felt worse about themselves because they weren't going somewhere fancy or exotic, Would it bother you that they felt bad about themselves because really they were doing exactly what you were doing? They really weren't going anywhere. Neither were you. Would that bother you?
No, because it shouldn't. It doesn't, because what you feel about yourself has nothing to do with me and what I'm posting. So again, it's like a projection. You can't get mad at me because I'm choosing to put myself online. And then you feel bad about you not going anywhere, but that's a you choice. That's not a me choice. As a content creator, it's my job to post. So my income is directly correlated with how much I post. And I know that posts perform better if I'm dressed up for something or going somewhere. I don't think your average person wants to see you just, sitting on your couch watching TV. I don't think that's not influencing anything.
Yeah. And you're being transparent about it, which I commend you for.
Thank you.
All right, my next guest says she faked her appearance, had fake friends, and staged how her house looked to get followers. But then things fell apart because she couldn't keep up the appearances. We'll talk to her next, and you might weigh in on that. We'll come back.
We're about to turn looks, bringing back the green heart emoji, and then it gets better. The green purse. When I first started going that page, I would put on outfits and give them a whole storyline. But in reality, I would take the pictures and then go home and put sweatpants on.
Talitha says being a social media influencer is her full-time job, and she stages to, in her words, add some flavor to the photos that she posts online. Now, my next guest, Megan, says she was a successful influencer who quit because pretending and faking turned out to be really bad for her mental health.
My name's Megan. I'm 27 years old, and I was a social media influencer between 2015 and 2020. In the beginning, it was fun. I started at about 500 followers, and then I grew that to about 22,000. I was bringing in about $8,000 a month. Some of what I was posting on social media was a facade, maybe an ad that I'm posting where I look really happy, and realistically, I'm in bed in tears. A lot of content I started making was all about home interiors. You turn literally 180 degrees and it's stacks of cups, dirty dishes, a pit of depression. I realized I had an eating disorder and I was very, very tiny. On top of having an eating disorder, I was already editing them to make myself look smaller. So a lot of people would ask me, how are you so thin? In reality, I was starving myself. After a while, I started seeing a lot of the negative aspects. People would tend to comment on my lack of knowledge of hair. The criticism was a big deal for me. In the end, I became super depressed. So in 2020, I took a 6-month break from social media. When I stopped, I had a large group of friends that went down to probably 3. I never heard from anyone anymore. I think that I could definitely become an influencer again, but my mental health is the most important thing to me.
Megan, thank you for being here. Did it help you to get away from it?
100%. Being able to step away and kind of actually look in the mirror and not look at an edited photo and say, that is me. I was able to look in the mirror at myself and say, this is who I am.
And when you were creating these images, did you feel phony?
No, I didn't. For the longest time, I did not at all see any problem in what I was doing. The photos weren't extremely edited or photoshopped, but it was taking a toll on my mental health more than I wanted to.
And what were you saying to yourself that it impacted your mental health?
I think I was just saying to myself, what is this life? It's kind of fake. I had no real friends. Everything was staged. In a sense of, like, I would create this content and I would be so thrilled that I made such a beautiful image creatively. And then people would comment and ask me questions. Is that your room? Is that your hair? Is that such and such? And I would say, yes, it was. But they didn't see the behind the scenes.
I asked Talitha if people were comparing themselves to the image and feeling worse about themselves because of it, Is that a negative thing? What do you think about that?
I think that for me specifically, I am a very sensitive person. So anytime I'm looking at someone else's photos and I automatically think badly about myself.
You shared some images with us, like your apartment, and like here's an image of your apartment, the facade, and then real. And then you showed us some other things like your bedroom and then how it was for real. And so you weren't creating things out of whole cloth, but you were manipulating the images.
Oh, yeah, 100%. So I remember exactly that date that I took that photo, and I was in the most depressive episode. I was suicidal. I didn't want to live anymore, but I had a job to do, and I needed to post an image that captured a product in a photo. And I posted it with a really fun caption, and no one knew how bad it was.
Yeah. At this point, I think we're not choosing content. Content's choosing us. That's what's happening with these algorithms, controlling what you see. I mean, are y'all aware of that? Because it doesn't matter what you think you want to see, you're not choosing the content. They send you content that is emotionally charged. If it's something that gets you incited or gets you where you feel worse about yourself, and so you start clicking on images trying to get some relief or trying to get some affirmation or trying to convince yourself, yes, I'm a horrible person, they'll keep giving you those images, and they know that that's the effect it's having, but they continue to send them to you anyway.
You have so much greatness in your life that you have given to the world.
My message always to people that follow me is just please be kind. Yes, social media is where people post and they live this fantasy realization. It's not real. Nobody's posting their pain. Nobody's posting the days when they're contemplating suicidal ideation. Nobody's posting that.
Right.
They're posting all the good. That's why you gotta take that social media with a grain of salt. Because at this point, we're all addicted. It ain't even about the kids anymore.
I know, it's so
not.
Addicted.
We're all addicted.
What part of it for you?
All of it. And that's the thing, is how you manage your addiction.
Well, that was my friend Taraji B. Henson talking about the fact that we're all in it now, and she's right. Joining us virtually right now is James McGivney. He's a cybersecurity expert, but he is really somebody that has a lot of wisdom in this area. I consider him a really good friend. He's a former Marine and founder of one of my favorite sites, and if you don't follow it, you should. You should follow and see what goes on there. The site is Bullyville. Who says social media is addictive because of these algorithms. James, how you doing?
Good. Thank you so much. I really consider you a good friend as well, along with Robin. You guys are the best. Thank you.
Well, it's good to talk to you again. And we were just talking about the impact that this has had on Megan. And I was talking about the fact that these algorithms are what creates the addiction to this stuff, and that it pulls in people, not necessarily giving them what they like, but what gets them emotionally charged.
They want to keep you as long as they can within their ecosystem. And at the core, all these algorithms are built and designed with an addictive component. You know, on average in 2022, a person spent around 2 hours and 27 minutes per day on social media. And the longer you spend on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, the more revenue that company is going to get. So their goal is to keep you excited, and exactly how you just described it. You know, but unfortunately, that algorithm, it incentivizes a lot of outrageous and erroneous content on your timeline that might not even be true, but you are going to go down that rabbit hole because you're curious.
56% of people report that if they're on for even the 2 hours that you're talking about, and it goes up if it's more, 56% report that they're depressed. Dissatisfaction with life, 52%. Fear of missing out, which is a big deal. Hey, I'm going to miss out on something that's happening, some trend, something, 52%. Body image issues, 51%. Do you get those numbers? You don't need to remember those, but over half of the people are having a negative experience with this. But yet it's growing exponentially. We're going to meet a 20-year-old who says she's ready to quit her 2 jobs to pursue her dream of being a social media influencer. I want to add her to this conversation here. I'm really curious what you two would say to her. Is she making the right decision? We'll find out next.
I'm Zoya, I'm 20 years old, and I'm originally from a small town in Colorado. I moved to LA about a year ago to pursue makeup, modeling, as well as influencing and content creation. I am on social media way too much. I spend like 6 hours a day on my phone. I started to realize how influential and powerful social media can be, and it's something that I'm really trying to get more into. What interests me the most is beauty influencing. I also am really into fashion, modeling, art. I would love to post makeup tutorials, get ready with me, stay in the life, whatever it may be. I would love to get paid to work with some bigger brands. It would be an amazing opportunity to receive free products and go on cool like brand trips. I currently have like 489 followers on my TikTok, and then I have 1,720 on Instagram. When I become an influencer, I just want to find like my community and just bring viewers in by being myself, because I think that is the best way to show up in the world.
Well, Zoya, what made you decide this was the thing for you?
Yeah, I've always been really drawn to content creation, videography things. And then from a super young age, I was super into anything beauty. I love makeup. I'm a makeup artist. So I don't know, I just have always felt super called to it. And then I think the ability to create your own content, find community online is just really interesting to me. It inspires me. You inspire me. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Do you think you'll make a living at it?
I would love to. I think ideally working for myself is something that I see in the future, and I would love that. So
what would be your advice?
Tread lightly. Honestly, my biggest advice to anyone in general, not even just social media influencing, check in with yourself like once a day, every single day. Have that conversation with yourself, because you might be doing something you don't like and you will not realize it until it's too late, until you're too depressed, too anxious. And I just think having that conversation with yourself will help you be more successful.
Would you support her doing it? Is it something you would recommend?
Yes, to an extent. So my form of break is showcasing that vulnerable side on social media, because not only are you posting A, but B, you're allowing your followers to see you in that light. And it's comforting to know that I'm not going through this alone. Like recently I posted a video about how stressed out I was, and a lot of my followers were like, you know, I'm doing the same thing. I love seeing that you're still a human, even though you are this influencer and you're all put together all the time, but you still have those vulnerable moments.
Yeah. Being authentic has a ring to it.
It does.
People know the truth when they hear it. Look, I want to thank all of my guests today. For more information about today's episode, or if you'd like to share your story, log on to drphil.com. And just because we're done here on stage, our conversation from earlier will continue on Facebook, YouTube, and drphil.com. So you can head over and hear more about today's topic. And don't forget to follow and subscribe to my podcast, Fill in the Blanks, or my true crime podcast, Mystery and Murder, Analysis by Dr. Phil, where I dig into some of the most intriguing cases of the decade. Also listen to Robin's podcast, I've Got a Secret with Robin McGraw, and find out the secret to laser facials with Dr. Sheila Nazarian, the expert at all things rejuvenation. From skin secrets to startling studies, there's something for everyone. So subscribe and follow. Listen for free on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to your podcast. Thanks for being here. Stay safe. We'll see you next time, guys. Thanks so much. Today on Dr. Phil, feuding neighbors.
You're attracting iguanas to your neighbor's properties. They crap everywhere.
You're feeding them out of your mouth and they have salmonella.
I'm immune to salmonella.
It says don't feed wildlife.
Unknown wildlife. Iguana is known.
Go live in the Everglades.
I'm very calm, but you're starting to wake me.
Go ahead, set an alarm. Wake up. I'm done with you, man.
Let's do it.
Show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today is going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
Get ready to take care of you. Today is the final day of Feuding Neighbors Week, and we couldn't finish the week without a unique feud between neighbors. And it all centers around a certain creature that can be found in South Florida, the iguana. Now, Darren is a resident in an upscale gated community who admittedly took it upon himself to feed these wild creatures, but his neighbor Matthew said the seemingly harmless act was wreaking havoc as it encouraged the iguanas to overpopulate the area, attack his pets, and poop all over the exterior of his house. In this episode titled Feuding Neighbors, Stop Feeding the Iguanas, we got to the bottom of this controversy and found out what was really at stake.
Iguanas are wreaking havoc on the Sunshine State. The number of iguanas in Florida has soared in recent years.
They're disgusting. They are absolutely gross. They're dirty.
Meryl Alpert is far from thrilled to share her space with iguanas.
They're a nuisance.
Meryl says they have eaten most of her plants, broken her planters, and leave their droppings everywhere.
City officials say an iguana was responsible for a large-scale power outage this afternoon.
A Southwest Florida man is using a strange method to keep invasive iguanas out of his yard.
Richard Dahlstrom told me he was tired of it, so he decided to hang up these CDs in his yard to deter them.
It turns out that flashy items interfere with their eyesight.
Neighbors tell me these iguanas are really a problem for two reasons. One, they leave messes like this, but they also dig holes that could damage these neighbors' property. For Harold Rondon, he uses a different type of approach to keep the common pests out of people's yards.
So we have to use air guns, which is regulated here in the state of Florida. There's a certain pellet that you need to use, a certain place you need to hit them. It has to be humane.
Florida's Wildlife Agency is encouraging homeowners to kill green iguanas that show up on their property.
Homeowners, lay people that don't understand iguanas should not go and try to take the matters into their own hands because they could get hurt.
My first guest, Darren, says when he moved into his new townhome in the Miami metropolitan area last year with his wife and children, he was welcomed by friendly neighbors until he started feeding green iguanas on his property with his hand and his mouth. Now, Darren says some neighbors have complained, cursed at him, and even reported him to the Homeowners Association. But he says it's just because they're jealous because the iguanas eat their plants and not his. Well, okay. And yeah, this is a real issue and it's threatening to tear this once tranquil neighborhood apart.
I'm having an issue with a majority of my neighbors. I love to feed the iguanas. I'm friends with the iguanas. I take care of the iguanas, and I'm starting to piss off a lot of people.
Come on, Bruno.
I can call them and they know my voice. They'll come out and hang out with me. I'll share my food with them. They don't need to go scrounging out there for food. I can give it to them. And the other neighbors are getting jealous. These are people that I've been friends with. The iguanas don't like them. It's not my fault that the iguanas eat their plants. If you were feeding them regular food, then they wouldn't go eat your plants. the lady next door. She's like, the iguanas are scaring my dog. I get verbally abused by the neighbors, calling me names, saying I need to stop this. I'm a freak. Forest boy, they call me jungle boy. I'll put food in my mouth and let the iguanas eat from my mouth. I've been bitten by iguanas, scratched by iguanas. Iguanas crawl on me. All I want to do is live peaceful, and I don't need everybody being pissed off at me because I'm trying to do what I feel is right.
Well, your friend kind of bit you there.
Oh yeah, I wasn't expecting that one because they don't usually bite me, but I was trying to have a moment with it. I was playing music for it, and I went to feed it, and I think he thought one of my fingers was part of the food, and it literally bit me. I didn't know they had, honestly, like I didn't know they had razor sharp teeth inside there because it looks like just gum like that. And that thing like just tore my finger up. Literally when I was shutting off the camera, like blood was dripping off my finger. It was crazy.
Yeah, you didn't know they had razor sharp teeth.
No, I didn't do that
I
part
see
of the
there.
research.
Yeah,
you see the blood?
Yeah, you might kind of want to check a few of those details out.
Yeah, well now
you
I
go.
know, so I'm good.
Yeah.
You know?
And they scratch your chest and
Oh yeah, I had
they
scratches all
bled
over.
your
But
chest. Yeah.
it was all good.
You play music for them.
Yes. They were like, wow, this guy's cool, man. He plays music, he got the rain coming down. I mean, it was.
So you think that was going through their reptile brain that?
Oh yeah,
this guy's cool. I like his music. He's good vibe around here.
So these creatures that people call pests and invasive and this and that, they're actually so smart. They know my face. They know my voice. I could come out there and go, come on, baby. Come on, Bruno. And they'll come right to me.
So this is Bruno and Big Marge.
Yeah. Large Marge.
Large Marge?
Yeah. Well, you can call her Big Marge, whatever you want to call her, but she knows Large Marge.
Yeah.
And then that's Bruno, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to hurt her feelings, but she's not here, so.
Yeah, I don't think she'll be my. I'm gonna show her this. I'll let her see the show and all, you know.
Yeah, do that. Now you say the iguanas love Reese's chocolate cups.
Oh yeah.
You feed those out of your mouth.
Yeah, I do actually. There's a picture of Bruno eating it. So I was like, you know what? This is like really cool. It could be cool for the Reese's company to actually use that as a commercial or something. Like it loves it. It eats it in one bite. It's just like, oh.
Yeah, well, they might see this today.
Oh yeah, and then they'll be like, "Hey, I want Bruno."
I can see the headline now. You know, Reese's poisons lizards because you know when you give them chocolate, they can't process. No, you give them sugar, they can't process that.
Well, it processed it because I saw what came out of it, and it like processed right through, and it's still there.
Yeah.
So.
You know, when you were saying you didn't check the razor sharp teeth,
yeah,
you ought to check this too, because that's poison to those reptiles.
Well, now I know, so I'll have to switch it up.
You say you're called Nature Boy,
yeah,
and by some of your neighbors because you like to feed these iguanas. What's their objection?
The iguanas go to their house, they eat their plants, they poop all over their patios and stuff, they attack their animals, supposedly. Allegedly attack their animals. They scare them. They don't want to come out on their patios because of the iguanas. But I'm like, I'm doing it.
So you're drawing the iguanas in. They ravage their flowers and attack their animals, and they're upset because you're drawing them in.
Well, I think it's just because the iguanas are going to their house for the reason that they're not feeding them. So they're eating their plants instead. See, I have a different outtake. I'm doing like reverse psychology. I'm feeding them, giving them what they want, so they're leaving my plants alone and they're not pooping on my deck. But they'll go over there and eat their plants and poop all over their place. But maybe if they started feeding them like I do, it'll totally change everything. And then they'll leave them alone. So
okay, well, we're going to see what one of Darren's neighbors thinks about this. And you may think, why are we talking about iguanas in Florida? We're just talking about people getting along. You know, there's a point where you have to say, you know, what can I do to get along? And that goes for both sides of any conflict. So we're going to meet one of the neighbors who calls Darren weird, obnoxious, and irritating.
Oh, Lord.
Next.
What one's that? He yells at me all the time. He's like McGill Gorilla. And then he's like, oh, you let your iguana.
It's very easy to be tough when I'm in a different time zone.
My neighbors are getting so jealous. They're getting jealous because they see me having fun. I even said to one of them, why do you have to be jealous? You can come over and feed the iguanas with me. I mean, enjoy this. If you went to like some tropical place, you would pay probably $200 to feed iguanas. What I do is an experience. Actually, I just came up with a good idea. I should do an Airbnb experience, have people come to my house, feed the iguanas on my patio, and I'll put a little gumbo machine where you get the food out and all that, and really piss the neighbors off.
Yeah, you just created a whole new industry right there on,
you know
on
what?
camera.
When I leave here, I'm going to start that.
Yeah, it sounds like a great idea.
It's amazing.
Or maybe not. We're talking about feuding neighbors today. And look, we have a lot of divisiveness in America right now. And it all starts at home. I mean, can you get along with each other? Can you get along with your neighbors? Should you do something just because you can? Darren says he's called Nature Boy by some of his neighbors for feeding wild green iguanas in their South Florida community. Now, the community has said they are a nuisance and you ought to shoot them and kill them. My next guest, Matthew, lives 3 houses away and says Darren ignored him when he asked him to stop feeding the iguanas that were damaging the homes. And now he can't stand Darren and wants him to move. Take a look.
When Darren first moved in, I thought he was a great guy. Now my thoughts have completely changed. He's a nightmare to live by. He's a nightmare to have in the community. Everything you're not supposed to do, he does.
I'm just sick of him with the iguanas. Just feeding them constantly is an absolute nightmare.
They used to want no part of people. The moment the door would open to the backyard, they would scatter. Now they see it as a signal like, oh, I'm gonna eat. Once he comes down and starts feeding them more, come out. My main issues are my dogs. Some of these things are big, like easily 5 feet. If one of them decided to grab a hold of my dog, they could do some damage. They eat plants, they crap and pee everywhere. My water bill was probably through the roof because I'm power washing my patio every couple weeks because of this guy. One day, I went over and he offered me like a piece of moss. So I'm like, no, what the hell am I gonna do with a piece of moss? That's pretty weird, man. And then he's like, well, I named them. So I'm like, all right, I gotta get out of here. I've called him Tarzan. I've called him George of the Jungle. I've called him Dr. Doolittle because I guess he's the animal whisperer of the community. Lizard Man.
Just got a little iguana.
You kind of hear him sometimes, like talking to these things.
Don't go.
It's kind of disturbing. He has him over like it's a happy hour. I have had my dogs poop and pee in his driveway, and I don't care if he sees me or not. He can clean it up just like I have to clean up the stuff that he's causing. We've come to words. It's gotten heated. It hasn't gotten physical. I mean, it can if he wants to. Just stop what you're doing. Just stop.
Well, Matthew is joining us from South Florida. You're frustrated with your neighbor here.
Yeah, I really don't know where else to turn. I've had it with him.
Well, last time you saw him, Matthew, you yelled at him and you guys just don't communicate or get along at all.
He yells at me all the time. He can't even walk down the street and see me without yelling something. He's like Sasquatch coming down. McGill Gorilla. And then he's like, oh, you let your iguana. He's from New York. He got the whole like ghetto thing, New York accent thing going on. And
yeah, it's very easy to be tough when I'm in a different time zone. So we can see if you want to say that. We can see that when you want to see me. When you come back, we'll talk about it.
My own time zone. I could have stayed home in my own time zone and had this go on.
Well, he's calling you Jungle Boy. You just called him McGill Gorilla.
Well, you should see him. He comes out, boom, boom. I see him coming down the street. I don't even want to confront with him, but I'm like, here he goes again. It's like a shoestring, and then this little, like, I don't know what rats had incest in New York, but this thing came out, and he's like walking it down the street. I'm like, was that before the iguana got to it or after? I mean.
This is his dog?
One of them. I mean, there's a few, but this one's like, I mean, I wouldn't even let that thing in my house. And then he's worrying about the iguanas outside. I mean, come on, just.
You wouldn't let my dog in your house, but yet you feed wild animals from your mouth.
Yes, I do. So what?
Yeah.
You want to try it? See, that's the thing.
No, I don't want to try it. I think that's half the problem. I think that's the reason why we're here.
I'm very calm, but you're starting to wake me, and you don't want to see that.
Go ahead, set an alarm, wake up. I don't
You know,
care.
this
This is why nobody likes you, man.
Neighbors like complained about me to the HOA, and they're really irritated. So they're starting to like gang up together and start to tell the board president about me. My neighbor Matt, him and I used to be friends, but he just started getting like really weird. He's the New Yorker. He's the one with the attitude who's really coming on strong about this. He's always like threatening and stuff like that. And when he's walking by, if I happen to come out, start yelling at me. So he wants to kick my ass.
He's been warned numerous times by the HOA to knock it off.
Here comes New York attitude with his, oh, you gotta stop feeding the iguanas.
Everybody's annoyed. It's quiet. And then he comes in, he got a little too comfortable and started doing this nonsense, aggravating everybody. I don't know anybody that likes him, I'll put it that way. If I was in charge, three strikes and you're out.
Well, Darren says his neighbor Matthew calls him Jungle Boy for feeding the wild green iguanas in his townhome community.
Whatever time zone you're on, when I get back, I'll let you experience this with me.
Let's not worry about experiences, and you should know what time zone. You're 3 doors down. Listen, you want to do this, you want to have the iguana experience, you want to be one with nature, you want to be all you can be with whatever you want. The Everglades is 45 minutes west.
And that's where I get my moss from.
Go live on the pond. Go live in the Everglades. This was not a problem until you started this nonsense. You started this garbage.
You know what? When I came to that
great.
community,
This is why nobody likes you, man. This is why nobody likes you. You gave off this whole
because
vibe
they're
when you
jealous
moved in.
like you.
Yeah,
You know
jealous
what?
of what? What would I possibly be jealous of?
Don't
Listen,
wake me, buddy.
I go to bed every night thinking,
He's
man,
gonna wake
you know
me
what?
one day.
Nothing makes me happier. Nothing would make me happier than to feed an iguana a Reese's peanut butter
I'm a
cup.
peaceful.
That's
you know what?
that's
So
I'm
why don't
jealous
you
of.
come over and try it? I'll let
I
you
don't want
try
to have
it.
anything to do with you. Why would I come over and do that?
You know what? I'm very calm, but you're starting to wake me, and you don't want to see that.
Go ahead, set an alarm. Wake up. I don't
You know what,
care.
this
I'm
guy's-
done with you, man.
I'm gonna set an alarm, all right?
Yeah, set it. Go ahead.
You need to straighten him out. You know what? You should have came to our time zone, and we should have confronted him because he's whack.
Anytime you want. Anytime you want. You can come over,
Look
Dr.
at
Phil.
him.
Don't
He's
worry
just
about it.
crazy. I don't need this. I'm like
Well,
I was
you say-
peaceful when I got here, but now I'm starting to get aggravated because I see him up there. You're really annoying.
One of the last times, probably the last time that we hung out, he goes, hey, I want to give you something when you, I'm like, all right, well, what is it? What do you want? And he goes, it's a piece of moss. I'm like, moss? I go, what am I going to do with a piece of moss? And he's like, oh, no, look, you could do this, you could do this. And he turns it over and he named it. He named the piece of moss. He's like, yeah, if you talk to it, it'll grow. And I'm like, all right, you know what? Maybe I misjudged this guy. I got to get out of here because the next thing I know, God knows what he's going to be offering me. So
yeah, okay.
I took off.
This guy's a real.
So did you offer him some moss?
Yes, I did. And
what was it saying?
I had them come over, like when people come over to people's houses and have dinner and stuff like that, you're welcoming them into your house. So if I have something that I think is like special to me and I offer it to you, don't go on TV and making fun of me and call me names and stuff. I'm trying to be like hospitable, and this is special to me. So if the moss is special to me and I'm trying to give it to you, take it. And even if you don't want it, I mean, you can give it away to somebody else or something like that. But don't be a jerk. Look, he's like a jerk.
Why were you giving him moss?
Because it's something that I think it's special and it's a present. And I said you could hang it on your wall. You could put it in a frame and stuff. I have some on my, in a dish in the house. Because what it does is it takes the carbon dioxide and turns it into oxygen. So it's like a natural cleansing that you can have in your house. And not many people have it, this special moss. So I was giving him some. I was trying to help him out, like get maybe a better vibe going on in his house.
And
I mean, you could tell it's like, look at him. He's like all stiff and stuff.
You named the moss?
Yeah.
What was its name?
I don't know what the one I was showing them. I don't remember. I didn't. But they have like, there's Lola. There's all different names. Mossy Moss, DJ Moss. I got like different names for them.
Because a lot of people keep black garbage bags full of moss in their garage.
Well, it collects more. It sucks up moisture also.
Yeah.
So if I have a big black bag of it, it's going to suck up all the moisture because in South Florida we have a moisture problem where stuff gets moldy. If you knew that, you wouldn't be coughing all the
problem,
time.
not a moisture problem. Yeah, we have an iguana problem, and there's one reason why.
Darren says he was reported to the community board for feeding iguanas, but he does not feel like he's breaking any rules. Well, is that true?
Yeah, it's true.
We'll talk about that when we come back.
It doesn't say don't feed iguanas. It's not specific.
It says don't feed any wildlife.
Unknown wildlife. Unknown is not an iguana. Iguana is known.
Now, Matthew admits to cursing Darren out for what he believes is selfish behavior that adversely affects all the homeowners who have to deal with cleaning up these iguana droppings from around, for fixing damage caused by the iguanas who are invading the area because Darren is feeding them. Now, Matthew reported Darren to the community board president, who declined participating today. Do you give any credence at all to any of their complaints, or do you think they're just completely off the wall?
Honestly, I'm doing me, man. You know when you say you do, that's what I go by. You do you. If it's making me feel good, I don't care what they think, dude. Do you think I give a crap what they think?
Well, apparently not.
Here's the thing. Do what you do inside your own walls.
What?
Here's the problem. Do what you do inside your own walls, okay? You can't do what you do when you live in a gated community, a townhouse gated community, when the houses are connected. It affects
bring
everybody.
them into my house
That's
then
the
and let
biggest
them live in the
problem.
house?
That's the biggest problem, is that you doing this nonsense has now affected everybody.
Here's the thing. It just says warning. Beware of alligators, snakes, and unknown wildlife in the area. No swimming, fishing, boating. Don't feed any wildlife. Keep your distance.
Yeah. It doesn't say don't feed iguanas. It's not specific. Alligator, snake, and unknown wildlife. Unknown is not an iguana. Iguana is known.
It says don't feed any wildlife.
But it's not specific. That's not black and white. It's red and white, and it's also in a gray area. It says do not feed any wildlife. Well, guess what? They're not wildlife to me. So in my head, it's not wildlife. It's my friend. And if you're feeding a homeless person and the person over here is mad because there's a homeless person in their area.
Iguanas are not homeless. They live in the pond.
But they depend on me.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
There are thousands of them down there that get by. I've never met you. They don't listen to your music. They don't come to your house.
But the ones that do like me and love me and have a vibe toward me, they expect me to come outside and feed them.
They don't have expectations.
They do. You just don't know.
You need to get a life, not a lizard.
You don't know.
Florida Wildlife says there is an infestation of iguanas.
Is, but not in my yard.
Yes, you're drawing them into your yard.
Yeah, so I could take care of them
and
I can
feeding them
control
out
the
of your mouth,
population.
and they have salmonella. You can get botulism.
Yeah, well,
this can cause paralysis.
Did I ever get that? Am I paralysis? No, I'm not. I got bit by the iguana. Did I get salmonella? No. I put peroxide on it. Not yet. I mean, it's been months. I'm not like, I don't get stuff like that because I am out in the nature. Do I look infected? I'm not infected.
Let me ask you a question. If you love the iguanas and your neighbors don't, and you want to be mature about this, why don't you go to the iguanas? I'm sure there's a pond or a marsh around there where they hang out and tell iguana jokes.
They do. It's out on it's right out back there. It's like 20 feet from the patio.
Then you can go out to where they are, but don't draw them into the houses where they eat the vegetation and burrow under the patios.
But
and
I
that
can't
sort of
do
thing.
that. I have a relationship with them already.
You can have a relationship with them where they live.
And then it's going to be worse. Then they're going to be like, oh, he's going down to the pond. Like, I'm on my own property. So if they come to me, it's like not a big deal. But if I go down into the common ground, that's when they're going to get me. He's probably got it all planned out with the board and everything. They're waiting for that.
You have completely lost your mind.
You probably told
you
this
have
doctor.
lost your mind. Listening to you right now. Listen, I thought you were bad. Hearing how you're breaking this down, I don't even know if there's any hope for you.
You probably got with the doctor and the board and told them, let's tell him to go to the lake and play with the iguanas, and then we're going to get them. Because then they got video footage.
You're right. You know what? I sent big Martha
This
text
is,
message and I let her know.
You caught us. This is Iguana Gate.
It's like a corporate thing.
We'll meet Darren's daughter and her boyfriend to find out how they feel about this feud with the neighbors when we come back.
I'm going to show you how easy it is to like hose it off. I don't know why people worry about this stuff, but look, see? You just literally hose it right off.
Darren says he's in an ongoing feud with his neighbors, particularly Matthew, and an ongoing relationship with Large Marge and Bruno, because Darren admittedly feeds the iguanas who roam free on the grounds of their peaceful South Florida townhome community. Now, why am I talking about this is, we have enough things to be bent out of shape about. And just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should. And, sometimes we have to step back and say, hey, you know what? What can I do to get along? Is there a way we can find some common ground here? Now, Darren's daughter, Ariella, says she doesn't see the problem with her father's behavior. Her boyfriend, Kyle, told my producers that he really cares for Darren a lot, but secretly wishes he would stop feeding the green iguanas. Your dad's feeding them out of his mouth. And
they like that.
I'm sure they do. But that can cause you to get sick, and it can cause paralysis. It can get seriously troublesome. What do you think about what your dad's doing?
I thought at first it was a really cute thing. They would just come up on the patio. They would always come out when my dad was there. At first, it really wasn't harmful. Like, he would just bring fruit out there.
It was fun. It was really fun at first.
I have videos on my own phone of it because I thought it was funny. I really didn't see a problem with it.
Until there were about 6, 7 of them at a time sometimes, and we're getting threatened by the neighbors, and it's a big back and forth. And I think, it's just ongoing. It's not necessarily, it doesn't bother us, but we're worried about him to the extent we don't want him to get hurt. We don't want anything to happen, in the community.
What do you think about the health issues here?
The thing is, I have a bond with them, and I am immune to salmonella, so I'm not going to catch it. I already touched the iguana poop. I touched the iguanas. I fed them out of my mouth. That iguana is not the only thing I ever fed. I went to New York City and fed birds the pigeons out of my mouth. They're flying rats. Did I catch salmonella? No. So with that said, I'm immune to salmonella.
Sometimes I wish she would just leave the food out there for them and not do things like that. The last thing I would want to do is to see her.
It's definitely fun. I mean, I definitely get a good laugh
you
out
even have
of it.
your friends come over and like, look at my dad, look, he feeds it. Go do it, Dad. Put something in your mouth. Let them feed it for them.
Yeah, but you're gaining new information now, right? You're gaining new information now, like salmonella and botulism, and drawing these things up to your...
People shoot it in their face anyway, don't they?
We're going to meet an iguana expert, which I'm not, but there is someone who is, who says it seems like Darren is treating the reptiles as pets, and it's illegal to have pet iguanas without a permit in the state of Florida. And we'll find out whether it's safe to be doing what he's doing.
I don't do illegal.
Imagine walking into your bathroom and seeing this.
I came in, opened the lid,
and there it was staring back at me.
Yup, an iguana had slithered its way through the pipes and into Bruce and Janet Blyer's toilet in their home in Hollywood, Florida.
I felt like Godzilla was looking at us.
A professional iguana trapper was called in.
You got him? Yeah. Okay, well, don't come too close to me.
Are you on edge in your home?
Not on edge until I walk into the bathroom each time, and I have to admit that we definitely look before we sit.
You look before you sit.
Always, and I always will for the rest of my life.
We would be moving.
They're scared of the little thing in their toilet bowl.
Well, if Robin opened up that lid and there was a lizard in there, we would get moving boxes and off we would go. We're talking about neighbors feuding over iguanas. Like we don't have enough things to do in America. We need to feud over iguanas. It sounds trivial, but the residents say, look, this is a serious issue. Darren says there's no harm in feeding the reptiles, but his neighbor Matthew says the iguana invasion that is damaging their properties, eating up their vegetation, is all an unnecessary problem. You don't need, they're there anyway. You don't need to draw them up needlessly. We reached out to a certified iguana expert, and yeah, they do exist, to have him weigh in on this conversation. So please welcome Perry Calato, owner of Redline Iguana Removal in the Miami-Fort Lauderdale area. So thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. What can you tell us about this, Perry? I'm saying he shouldn't be feeding these out of his mouth to start with, that they do have bacteria, that you shouldn't be handling them, putting your hands in your mouth. You shouldn't be feeding them out of your mouth. It's not a good idea. Tell me what's going on here.
I agree with you 100%, Dr. Phil. And to you, man, I understand why you want to do this and you think that you're helping them in the long run. Me personally, I was born and raised in South Florida. For 29 years, I've lived there. And I've seen their population expand over the time I've lived there. To give you a little bit of background about them, they're actually not native to Florida. They're native to Central and South America. They were brought in around the 1960s in the pet trade and they were let go. People like yourself, they think they're really cute when they're really small, and then they outgrow their cage very quickly, and you can't take care of them anymore, so now they're in the wild.
I take care of them even
just to give you a little bit of,
let him speak.
Just to give you a little bit of how big of a problem it is. I work for a local fire department down there, and I opened up a company specific to remove this one animal, and we are very busy removing that one animal.
So you're a nature hater.
I'm not, sir. I actually really do love our native wildlife and plants, and these guys are non-native to Florida, which in turn is causing issues for our native plants and animals, and it's out-competing them. Each female can lay up to 70 eggs a year, and they don't really have any natural predators. Once they get to Bruno's size, like you have here, there's nothing to limit their population, which in turn can be very detrimental to our native plants and animals.
Well, that's your opinion.
It's actually a fact, man. I'm sorry.
No, you know what? First of all, you bring a nature hater on the show. You have them sitting there. You don't even tell me that.
You didn't even know they had teeth.
It's all right.
Well, I know now.
Not only are you not giving them the ability to search for food on their own, now they feel comfortable on your property to where they can bite a kid. If a kid's sitting in his backyard eating a sandwich, they can come and bite his hand.
But they're not gonna.
And
they
these
don't know
things
that
are,
kid.
like
They
you
know
said,
me.
you're an adult and you started bleeding very easily. These things bite like an alligator and they roll. And their nails can carry salmonella underneath them as well because they walk around in their feces. So you might not be affected by their bacteria, but a little kid, a dog, somebody else might. And
That's
the
because
issue.
little Johnny never been outside, and that's why they don't have an immune system like I do.
But also, your neighbors, the one that you have on TV here as well, you're attracting more iguanas to your property and to your neighbor's property. So not only are they not competing for food anymore because they get it from you, now they can focus more on breeding, which is going to be an even bigger issue for you guys later on.
Okay, whatever. Enjoy life, man. Feel it.
Darren and Matthew say they want the feuding to end, but is that even possible at this point? I'll tell you what I think when we come back.
More and more iguanas are now roaming through Cape Coral, and neighbors say the invasive species is damaging their seawall.
Scurrying along canals and into backyards, neighbors in southeast Cape Coral say these green iguanas are making themselves at home outside of their homes.
This is the most we've seen in a while. We'll see up to 8 or 10 on our deck at a time.
Green iguanas are an invasive species, so FWC says neighbors can get them off private property by capturing them or even killing them, as long as it's humane. But some neighbors say they'd like to see the city send in professionals to take out these unwanted guests.
Well, all hour long, we've been talking about feuding neighbors. The subject is iguanas, but it's about feuding. Is there any theory under which you would alter your behavior?
No.
No.
Why should I alter what I feel is right? Like what I have a connection to? Would you alter something that you have a connection to? I don't know if you have pets or anything, but if your neighbor said, don't feed your pet anymore, are you gonna like listen to them? Or are you gonna keep feeding them?
You said you didn't have pets, and I think that's the position you're embracing, since that would be illegal. So I don't think.
Well, that's how I draw the line, see? They come to me. I'm not technically keeping them as a pet, so there's no problem here. It's just he has the problem. The guy over Sasquatch over there.
Well, I don't think he's. I don't think he's invading your right to peaceably occupy your home and.
And he has the problem.
And get
nature
along.
hater over there.
I'm not a nature
How do you
hater.
feel killing them things, and then when you go up to heaven one day, and God says, "Hey, man, remember that creature I put on the earth, and you just killed 5,000 of them?"
You can think what you
Let's
want,
see what
sir,
your
but at
job's
the end of the
gonna
day,
be,
I
'cause
just
it ain't
want to
gonna be
help our
killing,
native plants and
iguanas
animals
in
that
heaven.
are supposed to be there. And when these things get brought in and they're non-native and they're an invasive species,
But
it
you feel good
outcompetes our
about
native
killing them?
wildlife, and then that in turn
Do
kills
you, let me
the
ask
things
you a
that are
question now.
supposed to
Do
be
you
there.
feel good about killing them?
That's not a question. I don't get any
No,
joy
that is
out
a
of
question.
killing
That,
anything.
is that a
man.
question? Maybe if the doctor asked you.
Well, here's the thing.
How do you feel about killing the iguana that just had that bond with me and everybody saw it? How do you feel about killing that thing? Like it's literally an alive
I'm going to have the
creature.
last word here because it's
Yes.
my name on the wall.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I strongly suspect that their bond is with the food, not you.
No, it's not.
And I'm just giving my opinion. And
Okay.
I don't think you're the best listener because you're talking while other people are talking, which means you're not listening to what they're saying. It's hard to learn.
I listened to everything you guys all said. I listen and talk. I multitask.
Yeah.
So I can do all that.
Yeah. And you're immune to salmonella.
Immune to salmonella, multitask. I got everything he said. I got everything you said.
I hope you protect yourself and don't get infected. It's not a good idea what you're doing. I highly recommend you stop doing it. That's my advice to you. Matthew, I hope you guys don't have a physical confrontation. Highly recommend against that. I highly recommend against that. There are other.
Listen, I wanted to end. I don't want to live like this. It's exhausting. It's annoying. But you could just see how Darren, shut up for 5 minutes and just let me talk. Just shut up. You've cut everybody off. Just shut up for 5 minutes.
You're not getting to the point.
Stop. So here's the thing. Like you said, he doesn't listen. He's got an answer for everything. Everything. I'm willing to say, listen, I'll bury this. I'll squash this. We can pretend it never happened. Just stop what you're doing.
We reached out to Darren, who told my team he felt a little bad for his neighbor Matthew after the taping. So he spoke with his church pastor, who told him because of the Bible, he had to stay friends with his neighbors. Darren says he invited Matthew and his wife over for dinner and offered him an actual physical olive branch to symbolize an apology. Darren claims things have been better since the dinner, as they don't fight. Darren also says Matthew accepted another peace offering, a bowl of moss called Diana moss. Even with the alleged peace offering, Darren admits he has not stopped feeding the iguanas. We also reached out to Matthew, who also agreed they're doing okay now. but believes Darren, well, is still a little weird. For more information about today's episode, log on to drphil.com. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And if you want to keep up with all things Dr. Phil, scan the flow code on the screen. This will link you to exclusive content you can't get anywhere else. Plus, you can follow and subscribe to my podcast, Fill in the Blanks. I really talk about critical information on some of the most important issues that all of us are facing today. And check out Robin's podcast, I've Got a Secret with Robin McGraw. Listen for free on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks. We'll see you next time.